All right, thanks for coming. Good to see familiar faces in chat. Thank you, Ray, for being the first person to speak. But yeah, got a bit of a different setup going on. Kind of fixed the chat box issues that were happening before, sort of. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for coming. I know it's been a bit. I think it's been like a week since I last streamed. Um, but hopefully I'll be able to get on a bit more of a regular schedule, especially Checkmate final matches will be next Saturday. So stay tuned for that. Don't exactly know the times on that yet. I will be there though, as I always am. But I'll probably be able to stream next Sunday, so Sunday might become a regular day. I'm working more this week, which is why I didn't not gonna be having that Wednesday. But yeah, I fixed the chat thing, so it actually you can actually see it, and you can also see it better than you could before. It was kind of weird before, but it looks better now. So yeah. Um, but yeah, thank you guys all for coming. Gonna continue to like work on stuff, and I should be getting an actual mic at some point. Um, so my audio will improve. That'll be fun. But yeah, I will hit play on the stream. We'll get started on that as soon as possible. Really exciting matches in today. Uh, Doing Zeta versus Fav Gaming and RC versus Scars. RC versus Scars obviously will be later. It's only two matches out of the stream. I am skipping Arneb Wog versus or Arneb WOG. I like calling it Wog, but skipping that versus Axis Wave because Axis Wave has been suffering. But yeah, we are going to get right into it. Looks like they did pick Moonlit River Park, so pretty standard for our first round anti-opera singer pick. So that was weird. I don't know why that got flagged. Anyway, yeah, pretty standard anti-opera singer map pick, and we're also looking at a pretty standard opera singer comp here. We've got the gardener and the lawyer being locked in first. Chicken is going to uh Chicken is going to ban the yeah, I don't know why WOG is being banned. Maybe it means something and I don't know what it means. But anyway, it stands for something gaming. Ray, I'm sure you know that, but I don't. Anyway, World of Gaming, is that it? Anyway, um, back to the bans and picks, obviously, because I'm getting distracted by the chat. We're going to have Antiquarian, Explorer, uh coordinator and mercenary band here. We're going to weird that mercenary was the final band. I don't think. Oh wait, I kind of missed. I first officer was picked last, huh? Anyway, um, yeah, they've already rearranged it to who's actually playing who. So anyway, embalmer, lawyer, gardener, and first officer, pretty standard here. I'm still like, I mean, I guess it does make sense. Because we are working with pre-mercenary nerf here. It's a little bit more confusing in checkmate. Because that obviously we're playing on the current patch, but I feel like I feel like hunters might want to ban the first officer over the mercenary, um because mercenary is just not as effective against a an opera singer. And I mean, we are looking obviously opera singer situation, um because it is a round one in this current meta. But yeah, Kazuneko is going to be on Emma. Very scary. Not very fun if you are chicken. Not very, I mean, going up against Zeta in general would not be very fun, but going up against really any of these teams. I don't like thinking about it because I play Hunter and I love myself. Anyway, so going to get into the spawn picks here. It looks like we will have Hametu and Balmer. Um Hopefully we'll be performing better than the last time we saw him. He kind of suffered the last time I commentated for a Zeta match. But we will be spawning directly next to Delisu in the two-story house. Mochi spawning on the bridge, Kazuneko spawning at fourth stop, Hametu spawning at the first stop. Um, and yeah, we will be possibly seeing Lawyer as first chase, but it could be Embalmer maybe if Chicken decides to go that route. There's a couple options here. I feel like it's a little bit deceptive because it's like obviously Moonlit is a very big map, but with these options and with the mobility of the opera singer, she can just get all the way to that first stop in seconds. But We'll see. We'll have to see. Obviously, it's up to Chicken who he would rather chase. Yeah, I do enjoy. I like it. I do. It is the hunter's name though, so I do have to say it. But Chicken. I like when they have a little bit of fun with their names. And like obviously later when we watch Scars, they have Kit and Cat, which is funny. But yeah, it looks like we're looking at abnormal and trump card detention. Abnormal, obviously a bit of a bold move from an opera singer. It really depends on a fast down, not only a fast down, but also being downed over a cipher that was already being decoded. But she does have a lot of mobility to be able to get to that cipher. It's just a matter of not allowing a three cipher kite. But it looks like we're going to be right next to Delisu, getting very, very close here. It does look like Chicken's going to be able to spot that blood trail, and that's a very early first hit, less than 20 seconds into the match here. We're already we're going to get that first hit in. So that's not very good for Deliso. However, we do have a lot of room to work in this Godkite area. So it's not the worst start here. There's definitely, obviously, a lot of opportunity for Deliso to kind of redeem this, especially since Opera Singer doesn't have Blink. Blink is not going to be something we need to worry about. However, that is, but oh, yeah, getting hit right through the pallet there with that beautiful double back from Chicken is a very early first down here for Zeta. Not ideal situation that they want to be in. Obviously, it is an opera singer. They really can um what a lot of teams I think have been doing is affording to tie the first round. And yeah, there we go. There's that abnormal is really, really detrimental there, taking away an entire cipher's progress. We have progress on two ciphers, but that progress is kind of stagnating here, especially since the first officer is coming in to rescue. And I don't know if this is actually going to be before half, but it does look like I think no, they're not going for a double rescue here. It looks like that was at just before half. So not bad. It does give a lot of time for a rebound, a lot of time to waste with the lawyer on the chair, on a second chair, but it's really not an ideal start here. We haven't gotten back to the first officer cipher just yet. Obviously, Embalmer cipher was um interrupted. That's the word I was looking for. But oh, it actually looks Oh, it looks like we've gotten the coffin on Delisu. For a second, I was like, wait, why did he cancel? But then I remembered, we can actually get to the chair. I feel like it may have been better here to rebirth right away because obviously Chicken is taking the opportunity to come closer to that chair. So we will be seeing a pretty fast catch up here. Delisu won't be able to take the coaster, which is important. He's only going to be able to use this area to kite. But it's actually working a little bit of mind games here with which side of the coaster he's on. That was actually a very valuable slip up from Chicken, but very good for Zeta there, allowing Dolisu to transition into a better area to kite. It's not really, I mean, no area is really ideal, especially if you're being forced to tight kite, but that is going to be, would be a terror shock if it wasn't a lawyer. It's not going to register as one, but obviously lawyer is still going to go down. He will be sent back to the man here. They are at 4 ciphers remaining. They do have all 4 of those ciphers started, but it's a problem of getting to them. On a map like Moonlit, it's really, really difficult um, especially when the ciphers are so spread out like this. It does look like 3 of them might be on one side of the map. But we're almost at 3 ciphers remaining, but it's really not a situation they want to be in. Abnormal is back up, and it does look like Chicken's going to be able to find, maybe going to be able to find that cipher. We do need to abnormal a cipher sooner than later. It looks like we are going to find one, and it was the 80+% cipher, so that's going to get all the way halfway down there. Are we lagging? I don't know what happened there. But I maybe we were looking for shaking ciphers. I think that might have been more likely. But standing still like that's a little bit scary. Anyway, we're going to have Kazuneko take this next kite and breaking the chair. We are going to kind of waste out that bubble though. Oh, and we're actually going to double back, not wanting to deal with Kazuneko's bubble at all. We're just going to return to that cipher and find Hamitu, who doesn't have a coffin right now. Obviously it's not that big of an issue. Ooh, not getting that terror shock in kind of close there. But that is kind of just the mind games of not taking that vault, taking the free hit. But ooh, and a beautiful heavy hit through that pallet there. Very nicely done from Chicken. Mind gaming around the pallet, Hamitu is going to go down. They will need to come to rescue this. Mochi's still at half health. Kazuneko can heal, or even go in for this, but First officer's decoding's not too bad, especially since we are looking at accelerated decoding. We're over 3 minutes into the match. It does look like Kazuneko is going to go for this. So, oh, and we're not going to quite be able to get that bubble up in time. I think it might be primed, but I guess well, yeah, okay, yeah, it was a primed bubble. Very nicely done there from Kazuneko. But we are going to okay. Hamitu actually was able to get that coffin down. Was that an attack or did I think Chicken just stood there and waited for it to happen? Anyway, yeah, we are going to possibly be able to down Kazuneko here. Yeah, we are going to down Kazuneko. Kind of ignore Hamitu for now. It's really just a matter of, I guess, musical chairs at this point. Keeping a survivor on the chair at all times, forcing them to have one person come in to rescue. They're both injured, so it's not going to be very easy for them. But we do have Mochi decoding. Still two ciphers remaining though, and those last three ciphers are not at ideal progress. It looks like Hamatu's actually going to escape here. Kazuneko likely not going to be rescued at this point. Yeah, it looks like they are going to go and heal up here, which is good. They should reset here to just kind of maximize the time that they have left. But I kind of started this thought earlier and I got distracted, but a lot of the times first round, especially with Sangria meta, it's go for a tie, but that tie is going to be a 4K. As long as your hunter 4Ks, then you're fine. And it's not as difficult really to That was interesting. Actually, wait. Hamachi's going to be able to get this rescue. Oh my god. Yeah, with the Embalmer tied, Hamachi is going to be able to get that rescue. Unfortunately, Kazuneko is going to go straight down, but it does mean that Chicken is going to have to take the time. What a play there! That was incredible. Okay, yeah, he is still going to go down. So I guess it didn't really pay off in the end. But that if the cipher had been primed for that, um, if the cipher had been primed for that, and interestingly enough, Hamato does have borrowed time, which is a bit odd for an embalmer. But Kazuneko is the one with no borrowed time, which I guess makes sense for a gardener. You do kind of want her to take that first chase. Obviously, it didn't happen, but yeah, that was it was a very, in theory, that would have been that would have been a very good play. Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough health on the team, and no prime cipher, etc. But yeah, that would have been cool if it worked. Is kind of the moral of the story there. But Mochi utilizing that last pocket watch to just gain a little bit more time, by a little more time. Not quite sure where dungeon is. I don't think it's. Oh wait, no, it actually is in this area. Mochi could get a dungeon escape, but Hamato is going to be bleeding out. If Mochi can somehow contain for the next like 5 minutes, maybe. But no, we are going to go down. There's is going to be. They're not surrendering yet. Oh, dungeon's actually on the other side of the map. For some reason, I thought it was in the near the tent, but that didn't happen. Hamato is going to use self heal, but we are going to switch immediately to teleport. It looks like we've actually lost sight of Hamato. Not seeing him crouching there. There's been so many times in tournament. I feel like this always happens, but especially this year since I've been watching it. Where just simple trees and poles have been um like the most valuable player when it comes to just hiding. There was a match. I think it was I think I actually commentated for it the last time I did IVL. But with an antiquarian hiding behind a tree, but we are going to go directly down there. Yeah, not really much Hamitu could do. That is going to be a four-man elimination here for Fav Gaming in the first round, which is not surprising, because this is an opera singer. There's really, it is what it is. Um, it is what it is. Yeah, opera singer is opera singer. There's really no way around it. I'm gonna see if we can get to the stats here. Yeah. I feel like if Delisu had had a better first kite, that might have been easier. But I mean, it is what it is. They're operating under the expectation that they're going to be able to get a 4K immediately, and tie this first round and just um, bring it into round three. So it's not a terrible strategy, honestly. It's just for viewers, meh. For players, it makes sense. But as long as you can put up enough of a fight to try to not get 4K'd, I guess it's worth it. Yeah, it's all very it is what it is. But we will be seeing Fab Gaming Survivor Side here and Mirai K with that opera singer. Yeah, as long as Mirai K 4Ks, then Zeta is fine. If that doesn't happen, then Zeta is in trouble. It is what it is. But in the same vein, Fab Gaming does have the advantage here because um they just 4K'd. Of course it is an opera singer. But yeah. Anyway, we're going to lock in the Embalmer and the Gardener as our first picks. We're going to ban out all of our rescuers actually right away. The Mercenary, First Officer, and the Explorer are now going to be banned here. They could definitely go. Okay, they're going to lock in the Antiquarian, very smart here as their second pick. We could probably pull out a Patient. I would say Priestess is probably going to be banned next. Oh, we're actually going to ban the Lawyer, so they could bring out a Priestess. She would be recyclable. But we could also do something a little bit more traditional, like a Patient. I feel like they might not pick Priest. Okay, we're gonna go with a Wildling. We do want to have that stable Rescuer. So not a bad option there. I would have probably liked to see a Patient more than a Wildling. But that's just personal. I'm not a huge fan of Wildling meta. I do love when they get like little massages here. It's very I like when the coaches do that. Um, and it's supportive. It's fun. But yeah, Wildland coordinator. Yeah, coordinator also would have been a good choice here. Um, Personally, I don't love seeing Wildling. He doesn't. I get that he works in a coordinated team, but like coordinator would have worked here. Patient would have worked here. I feel maybe not pay, but yeah, it's very. I would have liked to see a coordinator. I get why they picked the wildling, but I feel like his decoding is just so not ideal, and then you can counter him just by ignoring him. Um, he can get in the way a little bit, but it's just that's just personal meta preference. It's not really it's not like a valid meta critique. It's just me. Yeah, but I prefer other rescuers just because they decode faster. And they're not as the thing with Wildling is that he just has such a high tax on him. Because every time you use the boar, the time you spend on the boar reduces like drastically. So I feel like and like he's not going to be chased. Anyway, we're going to actually see a little bit of a not a spawn that we usually see. It looks like we're going to have wildling spawn at the second stop, ready to turn it off right away. Usually rescuers tend to spawn over at the bridge, so that they're kind of in the open. But out of the way enough. Anyway, but we're going to see Embalmer spawning at first up, Antiquarian spawning in the two-story, Gardener spawning over at the fourth stop. So I feel like they might be wanting to see Wildling harass right away, but we're going to see Maraike take the working carousel bridge spawn. Could definitely go for Gardener on the first chase here. I feel like that would be, not the worst option. Gardener maybe Antiquarian, but Antiquarian's going to be annoying, and also Wildling is here. Um, yeah, if the coding debuff was lessened, Wildling would be like the most like top of the meta again. So that's like the one character that it's like, okay, well, we should probably keep that decoding debuff. I do think that forward, possibly batter shouldn't have as drastic decoding debuffs as they have. Maybe Merc, now that he's been nerfed to basically nothing, could probably get like a 15 to 20%. But I mean, we have been seeing a lot of Wildling this season. Just because he's not chaseable, but like an opera singer can chase him. We've seen opera singers chase wildlings before because she's as like her dash is as fast as the boar. So it is it's a bit of a toss up here, I would say. But we're going to see our persona webs coming through. We've got the flywheel running. Actually, we got flywheel on all characters except for Wildling, obviously borrowed time and Tide Turner. Both the Gardener and the Embalmer are carrying Broken Windows and Flywheel. And Antiquarian has borrowed time and Flywheel, and we're bringing the same persona that Trump Card Detention and Abnormal But we are going to take Gardner as our first chase here. It is, Gardner first chase is kind of a risk because it's basically guaranteed that your first hit is going to be eaten by the bubble. And like it does give presence, but she has the bubble, you know. But we're going to miss that fall hit there. Just going to take the basic hit. It will give presence, which is pretty valuable. At least first presence is valuable as an opera singer. Because you can definitely tell when an opera singer doesn't have the cape to throw out. See, like that could have been an unbroken dash if the cape had been in play. But obviously we don't have the cape yet, so it is what it is. But we're going to a beautiful jump right there back to a shadow, and that is going to be our first hit on the gardener. Yeah, I feel like maybe not trying to loop that as much, but we're going to have our second bubble up right away here. We're just going to take the hit. You know, presence is presence. Mirake, I would say, is confident that he can get this next hit in pretty easily. And yep, there's the cape. We're going to have that unbroken dash. Oh, and we're going to actually miss that hit though in a flywheel. Unfortunately, it's going to be a heavy hit and Narisu is going to go down, but very well done first chase. Obviously, it was over 60 seconds. It was over 60 seconds into the match, so that's really what matters here. It looks like Wildling is already heading in, but he does have to go across the entire map, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that boar coming out sooner than later, especially since it looks like he might run into Miraike. No, actually, we're not going to catch sight of him just yet. Mirake going to double back here, and it looks like Yog is actually coming into the area as well, or to take. Oh no, we're just going to try and distract. It looks like, but this is the thing with Moonlit; it can kind of work against the survivors. Nerisu is not going to be rescued before half. Looks like Wildling has gotten on that boar, so trying to kind of get in the area, but it just wasn't fast enough, and that is going to be an after half rescue. So that's not ideal here, I would say, especially since we have abnormal in play. They are missing another cipher. We do have three ciphers remaining. Um, yeah, we're missing basically two ciphers right now. So we're going to be able to get our first hit in on the boar. Second hit is going to be on the wildling, but that does allow time for the rescue. We do have Tide Turner in play, but looks like Mirake is actually going to go for a double down here, getting a hit in on the wildling. And we are going to go for the garter now, but she is going to be able to get a bubble up, going to just take the window speed boost here. Trying to transition over to this area, but the bubble is going to pop, and we are going to get a terror shock in on the gardener. That is very unfortunate. Gardener is going to be sent back to the manor here. But it was a good strategy, but it is going to be a double down situation. So, yeah, not great there. Not great there. Wildling definitely would not have wanted to take that hit, but obviously it is what it is. It is an opera singer. And another abnormal coming in. We're going to find the cipher that was at 82%, knock it down to 39%. They still haven't started that final cipher they need, and haven't really gotten back to the first one either. So not great here. Not great here for Fab Gaming, but we're going to get a hit in on the Antiquarian. Not able to flywheel that. I think that she was still in the stick animation, so wasn't really able to flywheel. Would have been nice to see a stun coming out there, but looks like we're actually going to try and double back here, trying to find where the Wildling is healing up. But Wildling is going to get healed up, and we are going to see that the Embalmer can potentially embalm the Wildling. That was the word I was looking for. Um, but yeah, I would say we were probably gonna see that sooner than later. Maybe later than sooner, I would say. Because we don't want to do it right away because then Mirake will just leave the wildling, which is, not that's not great. But yeah, able to get in the hit. Nice pallet stun. Unfortunately, we are going to get the hit through the pallet there. Wilding will be at half health. And are we going to see that coffin come into play? We could definitely. I feel like using the coffin here would be good. Oh, wait, no. The problem is that the coffin, Felix is decoding way too close to this kite. So that coffin's not really going to be able to be very helpful here. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and allow that chair to happen. Felix is in the area to rescue, but Abnormal is back up once again, and we are going to knock down that 61% cipher back to half its progress. Obviously, we do have accelerated decoding in play here, so it's not too bad, and Abnormal is losing its potency, but yeah, Embalmer, that it puts them at basically they're missing essentially a whole cipher. But we are going to get that rescue in. We can definitely use the coffin. I don't think we're going to use it. Yeah, Felix is going to go down here. So even if you wanted to, we're just going to rebirth right away. And Wildling's going to waste even more time. And oh, we're going to Terror Shock the boar. Oh, and we're going to get another Terror Shock in on the Wildling. That is not great. Um, but very well done there by Miraikon to get that hit in on time. That's not easy to do. But I would say that the speed of Miraikon's hit, of the opera singer's hit, did help out there. But yeah, you can Terror Shock the boar. It's I think does Gamekeeper Hook count as a Terror Shock on the board? I think that's why it does. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Gamekeeper's Hook counts as a Terror Shock on the board. But yeah, that's why Gamekeeper hard counters Wildling, because he can just yank you off the board immediately. Anyway, ooh, nice pallet stun there by Felix. Unfortunately, Wildling is going to be gone. We do have our second to last cipher passing 50%, almost at 60%, but yeah, it's really not going to be enough. Oh, a beautiful flywheel. Unfortunately, Opera Singer's hitbox just a little bit too big and is going to be able to hit Felix through the wall there. We're going to swap to teleport here, get right on top of the Antiquarian. A little bit of mind games here, not wanting to get disarmed, unfortunately. That is what's going to happen. Just going to drop that pallet there, trying to make as much of this containment as possible. But very nice mind games here, and looks like Yogi is winning them. Not falling, I would say, for Miraikon's antics, but that is going to be the end of those mind games. With a beautiful heavy hit to bait out that flywheel, and Antiquarian is going to go down. So we're just going to have to make our way back to Felix here. Felix should be able to heal up. But I think we are just going to wait as long as possible. But we'll see. Are we are we gonna heal up? No, no, we're not going to. Um, but I would say, are we going to go for the chair? Murakam bringing him across the map here, but it looks like we're just going to drop instead. Yeah, allowing him to struggle free here. There's really nowhere for him to run. It's just a matter of wasting as much time as possible, not allowing Yog to use that self heal. So yeah. Well, Felix also still has self heal. So hmm. I don't think Miraikon knows where the dungeon is, and that's why this is happening. Just trying to kind of keep the survivors in a place where he can see them. But that is going to reset the self heal, which is good. Okay, yeah, that was to reset the self heal, I think. But oh, we're actually going to miss. Are we gonna miss Antiquarian's body, or are we just looking for dungeon? Okay, yeah, we are just looking for dungeon here. So, hmm. Yeah, trying to figure out Miraikon's strategy here. It's a little bit head scratching, I would say. But yeah, at this point, he can probably just go ahead and share the survivors. But it looks like he might have lost track of them, which is very real, honestly. The amount of times that I've left a survivor, like looking for the 4K, I leave a survivor somewhere and I'm like, I don't know where you are. Haven't really had anybody get mad at me for it yet, but yeah, they're just not going to use that self-heal. Maybe Felix will use it now, but they're just not using it, even though they do have access to it. Like, it is a 4K. It's a 4K no matter what. No matter how you spin it, this is a format elimination. But okay, Felix is going to use that self heal now, but it is going to have a full chair, a full antiquarian chair to kind of try and work around. But it does look like he's actually over that dungeon here. And the cipher there, he can just keep tapping in order to not get crows. Thing is that Miragon is very, very fast, a very fast opera singer, and is on the lookout. But we do have Tinnitus coming into play here. Miraikon knows that Embalmer is near the dungeon and is going to spawn him out here. Nice. Oh, we're going to bait out the flywheel. Unfortunately, not going to quite be enough time. Felix is going to be downed over the dungeon, but of course, Antiquarian hasn't taken off yet. So that will be a confirmed 4-man elimination here for Zeta. And that's kind of what I was saying before the round started. If we end up with a tie, Goodness. If we end up with a four-man elimination in the first round, as long as our hunter four-man eliminates, it's fine. And yeah, that's exactly that's exactly what we're seeing. So yeah, it is what it is. I feel like they just didn't surrender because I mean they didn't need to, but yeah, it's average average round one, I would say. When it's just this current meta, um opera singer, etc. But yeah, it is what it is. But of course, we will be moving on to our next match if I can find the timestamp for it. There we go. Yeah. So it's a blank slate coming into the second round, which is kind of good, or it is pretty good, I would say. Because there's no precedent. Everybody's got it. It was a drawn first round. There's no bias. There's no points in either direction. Um, it's a blank slate. So basically we can treat this as a round one but with extra bands. But yeah, so we are going to get into it. Chicken is still going to be the hunter for Fav. And we will be locking in the priestess and the um entomologist as our survivor bands. Obviously, gardener and lawyer are globally banned. And for our first two picks on Zeta, we're going to have the antiquarian and the psychologist. That antiquarian is almost 100% going to Kazuneko and is very, very scary. Um, we'll see who the psychologist is going to, and they're actually going to lock in a seer as well. With the embalmer being banned, so this is a very aggressive team comp here. A lot of survive. Well, I would say less so psychologist. Psychologist doesn't really get banned as much. We're going to ban the mercenary and get a forward in return. So there's actually two options for Kazuneko there. So we'll have to see who he ends up playing. But yeah, that's a really interesting kind of allowing these out. Um, yeah, I would say that like entomologists, we could be seeing a clown here, but I don't know if Chicken plays clown. But entomologist is usually a pretty telling clown, but could also just be target banning for Kazuneko, who is a crazy entomologist. So yeah, we'll really have to see what exactly Chicken decides to bring out here. Obviously, Opera Singer has been banned. But yeah, that's it's scary. It's a little bit scary if you're chicken because we're looking at seer, we're looking at antiquarian, we're looking at forward. At that, we're looking at Kazuneko forward. So that's, another another source of horror if you are chicken. But yeah, we're just gonna selecting the persona web, but we are going to get into the hunter pick here, and I'm very curious as to who this hunter will be because yeah, that's not a lineup that is very hunter friendly. But oh, we're actually going to go with a wax artist. I see it. I see it. Does kind of passively counter harassers with the wax. He's also not too bad on Chinatown, so that's as well. Um, less of an issue. But yeah, it's not gonna be fun for chicken here. It's not really a situation you want to be in as any hunter. Um, hmm. Yeah, I guess we'll really just have to see how it goes because allowing out the seer, it is a wax artist. So seer's a little bit less of an issue as a personal type, but there's still a lot of potential for teammate support. Obviously, psychologist being on the team is just, average annoying. Um, the stun countering, can only go so far, and I think that's going to be the biggest issue here. There's only so much that wax artist can do to counter stunners, unless he brings excitement, which he could definitely bring excitement here, but I mean, it's still a wax artist. And Blink would probably be at least a little bit better, but Yeah, we are going to have possibly Seer taking this first chase, which isn't bad. Definitely not the worst possible first chase here. Psychologist might be a little bit more ideal, but it's either spawn in the hotel and lock off the hotel or spawn in the corner and then, whatever. So spawning in the hotel is definitely better just to make sure that survivors have a little bit more difficult of a time rotating there. Um, but and also to cut off because generally at least two or three ciphers spawn like in that row where Wax Artist and Seer are. So locking off or at least pressuring those ciphers can be really good for a hunter. But yeah, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun if you are chicken, and it's going to be a little bit more fun. But we're actually going to bring teleport. Okay, so not going to bring blink or excitement here. We're going to opt for teleport as well as insolence and detention. So we're definitely looking to push this to end game, pressure those gates. Wax Stars can do a decent amount of gate pressure, so hopefully that pays off. But we are going to see flywheel, a couple flywheels. Well, I guess I kind of missed my window of opportunity there. We're going to see Tide Turner on Kazuneko's forward, Flywheel and Broken Windows on the Seer, just Flywheel, and obviously Borrowed Time on the Antiquarian. And we're actually gonna have two tides, double tide situation here, with the Psychologist as well. So that's a little bit interesting. Not really something that you usually see, especially since Psychologist doesn't have much else to chase with. But I get it because she can take three hits. She's a little bit of a safer rescue option. But interesting that they're still bringing Borrowed Time. They could definitely have gone for like a Borrowed Time, broken wind or Tide Turner broken window situation. Anyway, we're going to have the forward here as our first chase, which is a little bit interesting. Very good rotation by Zeta to kind of avoid having the Seer be first chase immediately. It's not great to be caught out in the open when your owl hasn't come back yet. Um, yeah. Anyway, but it looks like we're going to switch targets here and actually going to find the psychologist, who is a much better option for our first chase. Antiquarian also in the area though, but I don't think Chicken knows that just yet. Looks like Hamato is going to opt to just rotate out of the area instead, which is good, especially this early in the game. You don't really want to have to harass and waste your resources. But yeah, Mochi is going to take this kite almost at maximum wax, and we are going to get that first hit in. Again, Mochi has nothing to work with here. Only has Tide Turner, doesn't have any kiting support. So this is going to be a completely raw kite, no broken windows, no flywheel. Um, so it really just comes down to raw skill. But we have already allowed that first hit. Looks like we're on our way to allowing the second hit, but we do have insolence in play here. So we're not going to have the hot wax just yet. Hot wax is a max presence trait, but we do have the kind of glob. But ooh, a nicely done owl there, just to waste as much time as possible, delaying that first hit. Mochi is going to be able to transition over to another pallet, but unfortunately, we are going to get maximum wax here. But Hamato is in the area here to support, not quite getting him in the line of that pallet, but still getting a pretty good disarm in there. Um, it looked like Mochi wasn't actually within range, so that is going to be a pretty long disarm. Antiquarian does have less time disarm, depending on how many people are in the area, but does look like Mochi was pretty much out of the way. And oh, Kazuneko coming in with a long stun there. That was over half the ball. But of course it is a wax artist, so it is going to be a little bit slower here, or a little bit faster of a recovery, and Kazuneko is going to take the kite, it looks like. Losing Mochi, we're going to use that ball to transition over to the pallet. And we're actually wasting a lot of wax here, so we were able to get that hit, but Chicken's wax is running pretty low. So that is something that he's going to have to conserve here. It does come back pretty quickly, as we can see, but it also gets lost pretty quickly. So yeah, it's a little bit of a dangerous game, but we're going to have Kazunoko completely take this kite. Looks like we are going to be going down here though. Little bit unfortunate. Chicken is going to be at full presence, but very well done by Zeta, just transferring that kite over. And they do kind of have another tide turner. It is a forward. I don't think Kazuneko actually has enough ball to really utilize it, but we'll see. We'll see. Mochi is going to take this kite. Oh, is going to allow a terror shock. So that is a little bit unfortunate. We're going to have what technically was a double chase situation, but Kazuneko was rescued after that teleport. And it looks like they might be no, they're not healing. Jaleesa was just in a bit of a strange position there on that cipher. So anyway, we are going to heal Kazuneko back up. Hamitu is going to exit the area, but it looks like Yeah, Kazuneko can come in for this rescue. But he is going to be hiding there. And is going to miss that wax as well. Chicken kind of expected him to be up there, but Kazuneko was behind a wall enough that that wax didn't connect. So that was very good on Kazuneko's end, just hiding. They do have two ciphers remaining, and those two ciphers are pretty far along. So this is looking, I would say at the worst, this is a draw situation. But that is at the very worst here. They do have that cipher is at, well, I mean, I think the 60% cipher is where Mochi is chaired, so that's not as ideal. We are going to get a pretty good disarm in there. Unfortunately, there are two people in the area, so it's not going to last nearly as long as it would otherwise. It looks like Hamato has enough in there for one more stun, or at least a little bit of a speed boost. But waxing off that cipher, that is, again, the cipher that is at 60%. But it looks like Delisa's actually returned to one of the previous ciphers, was at 6%. Is now being decoded. We do have accelerated decoding in place, so it's not going to take nearly as long as it would otherwise. But Hamato is going to take this chase. Not really good here that we're switching targets as much as we are. But we're going to actually find out Delisu here. Delisu is at full health, but was decoding. But they have been able to return to the other cipher. It looks like teleport is up, and Chicken is well aware of this. We might be seeing a teleport back. Yes, we are going to teleport back, but Kazuneko is also at full health here, can take multiple hits. Um, Obviously, all the other members of the team are injured, so it's not as ideal as finding one of them. And a nice pallet stun. Unfortunately, it is going to damage Kazuneko there, with that hot wax activated, but it also is going to buy quite a bit of time. So not the worst here. It looks like they are going to continue healing up instead of decoding. At least for now, they have returned to decoding that cipher. But as long if they're able to make it back to that cipher that Mochi had been working on, that Kazuneko was continuing, they could have it prime much sooner than later. But it looks like Hamato is actually coming in, but a nice hit through the pallet there by Chicken. Bahamatu is in the area, a little bit in the area, waiting by that window there. Doesn't look like Chicken's gonna go inside the hotel though. Bahamatu is ready to rescue here. That cipher is nearly primed as well. It's going to 100% be primed by the time this rescue goes off. Going to get a hit in a Hamato there, but it doesn't really matter. That cipher is primed. They are going to have a four-man end game. Yeah, all members. Oh wait, actually, well, Delisu doesn't have borrowed time, but everybody else does. Going to disarm there for the cipher pop, and that is going to be our end game. We're already decoding the exit gate. This is not looking good for Chicken. Chicken looking a little bit lost here, trying to see if there's anybody at the exit gate. But by the time he teleports, is he going to be able to teleport to the other gate in time? No, it's going to be open, and he still has teleport on cooldown. 3 more seconds left. Is this going to be a four-man escape? Hamato over the dungeon. That is going to be a four-man escape there for Zeta in the second round. Not no longer a blank slate here. Absolutely no longer a blank slate. That is not great for Fab Gaming. It will go to a round 3 automatically, so even if they lose this round, they will still have a chance to bring it back. But 5 points to Zeta is not that's not easy to come back from at all. But yeah, that really is kind of the questioning of that wax artist. But like, yeah, the Zeta team's coordination, the rotation there, the absolute just beautiful rotation done by Zeta there. Obviously, it looked like the Seer was going to take that first chase. Ended up being the forward, who is not who you want to chase if you are a hunter. Yeah, just absolutely crazy communication, coordination there. All members of the team, except for obviously Seer, who was able to rotate out the way, but over 100 seconds of containment on all members of the team. Heading back to that cipher, it is kind of the drawback of Chinatown. It's not a bad map. It's not a bad map for wax artists. The problem here is that it's just having coordination. The ciphers are pretty close together on Chinatown as well, so you can't really spread them out as much as you can on Moonlight, for example. Um, yeah, that's just very, very unfortunate there. And is going to need to puts the pressure on Fab Survivors to really bring it back. But oh, I'm kind of overshooting there. Okay. Okay, I didn't overshoot too far, but we're going to see Alf coming out as the hunter here. Very, very scary. Not something that you want to see on Chinatown specifically. I do again. Well, I would say we are banning the seer and the priestess first, which doesn't really give you any indications of who a hunter pick's going to be because I mean seer and priestess is kind of just the seer and priestess ban. But we're going to lock in the coordinator and the acrobat as well as the entomologist here. I would say that Five Gaming's probably preparing for, or at least wouldn't be opposed to preparing for a clown here. Obviously, entomologist is good no matter what. Um, but having that entomologist on the field does kind of counter Alf's clown. Alf does have a very, very scary clown. So we could be seeing that. Obviously, the entomologist is kind of a deterrent here. But also Alf's hunter pool is just insane. We could be seeing practically anything coming out here. I do hope it's not a night watch. Um, just personally, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. First pick acrobat is because he's not he's disposable basically. He's very good, but it's better than picking like the entomologist or the mercenary. A lot of the times, when teams are preparing for a clown in particular, they will pick the entomologist first. And then, well, it's a little bit interesting because they could have definitely afforded to pick the entomologist first and then ban clown in the next round. But Alf has such a deep hunter pool; he's not really a clown main. He just has a good clown. So having her still on the table for the next round, is still important for them. So having the acrobat picked here, he's not well, he's a little bit replaceable. We're actually going to see the geisha coming out here. Again, not a bad pick, especially on Chinatown. There's a lot of room for her to use her butterflies, a lot of trick butterflies she can do. And not really any specific counters here. I don't think. I mean, acrobat's obviously annoying. Coordinator's always going to be annoying. Entomologist is also annoying. Mercenary, they're all annoying, but it's not like we're looking at a seer. It's not like we're looking at professor. Anybody that really counters single hit hunters or geisha pretty hard. In theory, mercenary can counter geisha, but geisha also counters mercenary. So it's a little bit of both. It really just comes down to individual skill, and Alpha only needs a one-man elimination here. Alpha only needs because Zeta got a four-man escape, which is nearly unheard of, and absolutely insane. Um but they were able to get that four-man escape, which puts so little pressure on Alf for this round. As long as he doesn't get four-man escaped either, but it's Alf. There are not many teams that can four-man escape against Alf. So aiming for just a one-man escape here, you don't really have to go super aggressive. You could definitely just, play the geisha, get a little bit bullied, and just eliminate one. But obviously, Alf does still want to have a good point differential coming into the last round because again, this is guaranteed round three. So we could see basically anything. It would be safe to get a one-man elimination. It would be very safe to get a draw. It would be crazy to get a three-man. If we end up with a four-man, that's a 10-0 round. That's basically impossible to come back from. No matter what the outcome of the final round is. So yeah, getting a four-man elimination obviously would be really good here. Alf doesn't need to aim for that though, but we are going to get the persona webs in. It's going to be broken windows and borrowed time on the entomologist and the coordinator. Tide Turner obviously on the mercenary and Flywheel on the acrobat. Everybody's got Tide Turner or everybody's got borrowed time, which is not like what we've been seeing in IVL. We've been seeing a lot of weird personas, but heading a little bit in the safer direction here. And Alf is carrying trump card detention, and I didn't quite catch that skill. I think it's blink, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's blink. Anyway, coordinator is going to be our first chase here. Alf taking that gun like a champ. Very early on though, so it's not going to waste a lot of time. Ciphers are barely being started here. And this is going to be a pretty good area to contain for the coordinator. Not the worst spot on the map, but we are kind of in an open area here. But the bees are in the way. The bees are going to support here. Bees are very, very annoying for a geisha. They, like, as we can see there, they block the dash. Not something that Alf really wants to be able to deal with, but a beautiful butterfly there, just completely circumventing the bees. And oh, I think actually the bees got recalled. Anyway, not a great time to recall the bees, I would say, considering they were kind of in the act of being used. But a little bit of mind games here. Felix is going to drop down and will be heading down here. No flywheel to work with. That is a fairly decent first kite. We are over 60 seconds into the match. So we do have a pretty good amount of cipher progress done. All ciphers are either nearly past half or almost done in the case of that 180% cipher. Obviously, we did lose a little bit of time with the entomologist coming in to harass, but we do still have plenty of time to work with when it comes to Fav Gaming. So, not the worst situation that they could be in. Obviously, having the coordinator with no resources isn't great, but Mercenary is coming in for this rescue, does have Tide Turner, so even if it is a farm, coordinator will still be lasting a pretty decent amount of time. We also do still have the entomologist to potentially come in, but Mercenary is going to come through with this, getting a hit on the way in, and we will be continuing. So yeah, pretty standard here. Nothing crazy yet. Um, just a very normal, calm geisha match. We are going to get that hit in on Felix. Ciphers are still looking pretty healthy. They obviously need to start that final cipher. But they did just pop two of them, so a little bit of rotation here, a little bit of resetting. I would say they're probably not going, or they might heal up the mercenary, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Looks like Yog is going to come in for this. Doesn't have Tide Turner to work with, obviously, but that's not the biggest deal in the world right now. Um, as long as there can be just a little bit of time wasted, that's the major thing here. So they are going to want to go for that 99% rescue. Yo, kind of playing around here. Alf is going to force the rescue to happen now, but Felix is going to be able to transition away, but is kind of in an open area here with no flywheel to work with, is just going to go straight down. So that is going to be our first elimination of the match. It's still pretty much looking like a draw situation, but they haven't started that last cipher, which is a little bit crucial here. Okay, they've just started it as I'm saying that, so, but yeah, we will be starting our final cipher here. It's a little bit behind, I would say, but it's not bad. Um, I mean, it's not 99% of the way done now, as we have seen, but Alf is going to be looking for that next target. It looks like we have kind of spotted out the entomologist. Knows she's here, but we haven't really caught sight of her. But we will catch sight of her now. Butterfly just to catch up there. And will we be getting? Ooh, not going to be able to get that hit through the pallet. A little bit unfortunate. But it will be going down. We still have Blink. Interestingly enough, we still have Blink. Alpha just hasn't used it yet. I would say at this point in the game, we kind of want to save it. Just so that we don't end up with um a ridiculously long cooldown for endgame teleport. So yeah, just going to hold on to that blink. A little bit unfortunate, obviously, that it wasn't used, but it is what it is. Mercenary is going to be coming in for this rescue, but the Cypher's not primed. So if Mercenary does take a hit here, it will be a double down situation. Cypher's nearly well, not nearly. I mean, it's over half, which isn't bad, but it's also not great. That rescue is going to be just before half, though. Not really something that I would say Alpha's looking for, but it is going to be potentially a double down situation. Unfortunately, if Alpha isn't able to make this happen, this will be a Cypher pop here. Yeah, Cypher is primed. So Yoga is going to go down, but the Cypher was primed. We're still looking at a draw situation here. We can definitely switch to teleport or just use the blink to cut off this endgame kite, but it actually looks like we're going to switch targets completely, heading for the mercenary, cutting off their access to this gate. So not a bad choice there at all from Alf. And yeah, again, he really just needs. I mean, getting the one elimination has already won Zeta this round. Getting the draw would still be good because obviously you want to get as many eliminations as possible. We're not quite going to swap to teleport yet. It looks like we're just going to keep waiting. Alf playing a little bit casually here. Again, we don't need we only need the draw. We only needed the one man elimination, but here we only need the draw. Um, so we will be chairing the mercenary in the basement, which is a little bit to discourage the rescue, but we're going to teleport right away. It looks like Fav has actually already moved away from that gate. Is there anybody going into rescue? It does look like Nerisu's actually heading towards, I want to say heading towards the basement. It's a little bit hard to tell from that angle, obviously, but that is the thing that's happening. But Entomologist is going to go down. It does look like we are rescuing the mercenary. However, they were in the basement. That does give Alf a really good idea of where everybody is. So not not too ideal, especially if you are Fab trying to get as many escapes as possible here. They do need to aim for at least that three man just to try. But it's not great. It's not great at all. Alf playing a little bit of mind games around this window against Nerisu. Are we going to be able to rescue the entomologist in time is the real question. Because that's really the only way that they can still keep pushing for this draw. But Entomologist is going to take off. This looking a little bit more like a one-man escape here. Dungeon is in the area, if I'm not yeah, Dungeon's in the area. So if Mercenary is able to escape here, that will be a confirmed one-man escape. It will be a confirmed one-man escape. And I was going to say they could push for that dungeon, but unfortunately, Nerisu is going to get caught. So that is going to be a three-man elimination here for Alf, which is going to give, I believe, a 7-point lead, if my math is correct, which is not great. Not great at all if you are Fab Gaming. Very, very good if you are Zeta. Especially heading into the round three. The one thing that you want to make sure of is that things are not tied. But oh wow, yeah, I didn't even notice that. 0 seconds left on tension when he got the hit. Yeah, a little bit close, a little bit tense, but it did it worked out. As long as it works out, that's really what matters. But yeah, that is going to be a uh 8-1, I think is the score for that round. I'm actually going to see, I mean they will say it. But yeah, pretty low containments across the board here, which is both good and bad. But of course in this case it was bad. Yeah, that was going to be 8-1, 13-6 heading into the third round, or really just 8-1 because 5-5 doesn't really matter. That was a drawn round. So yeah. But we will be looking at 8-1 for our score here. So that's a 7-point differential that Fav needs to close in the final round. It's not impossible, but it's not going to be easy. But we will get right up to it once I get hold of my timestamps here. Yeah. Looks like they have swapped out Kruger for their hunter in the final round, which is pretty good. Kruger is a very fun hunter to watch and has the best hair of the entire tournament, so you know. Um, but yeah, a lot of pressure here on Fav Gaming to bring this back around. And Zeta's kind of cruising. I won't lie, Zeta's kind of cruising. They have a 7-point lead. Obviously, they can lose that. But Kazuneko looks like he's planning something. But we will be heading into this final round. It looks like it's going to be on Lakeside Village. And we will be having Seer and Priestess as our first two bands. Again, pretty standard. For our global bands, we have Psychologist, Antiquarian, Gardener, and Lawyer. Which isn't really bad for global bands, I will say. It's not like they're pretty nothing characters. I mean, I guess not Antiquarian. Antiquarian's like the most valuable one, I would say. But we're going to have the mercenary and the toy merchant here. I'm not sure if Jupi's still watching, but that's a little gift having that toy merchant coming out. Um, Also very, very fun to watch on Lakeside Village. I mean, you know, most maps are pretty good. For well, not most maps, but any map that has levels is good for Toy Merchant, and I do love seeing her come out. She is a personal favorite as well. But yeah, we will also see the Prospector, so I would say that is going to go towards Kazuneko having that Prospector return. Kazuneko did kind of popularize Prospector meta before he was cool. Um so I'm excited for that. If I was Kruger, I would not be excited for that because I mean really any harasser for Kazuneko is not fun at all and terrible and bad. Uh, but we're going to have the acrobat locked in as our final. Oh, yeah. Apparently that is what we're going to be seeing. We are going to see Hamitsu on that prospector and Kazuneko on the acrobat. Kazuneko on the acrobat's kind of scary, actually. Um, Kazuneko on the acrobat, I feel like that's where I feel like he's planning something. That's scary. I don't like when Kazuneko's not predictable. That's almost scarier than Kazuneko being predictable. But yeah, Kruger's definitely going to have his work cut out for him because having with a team like Zeta, and a team like Zeta having that kind of communication that they have, um having essentially, well, it's three kiters a little bit. Three kiters. Um your emotes don't work. Three kiters, and well, three and a half kiters because Prospector's technically a kiter. Um and I'm counting Mercenary as a kiter here just because of the elbow pads. Four kiters, I guess. Four kiters that are very, very powerful, obviously. And also very good on Lakeside Village. Obviously, Acrobat has a lot of room to work with the boat, with small boat as well. Never underestimate small boat. Um, yeah, it's not a great situation. I forgot to kind of go over the bans. I was distracted by the toy merchant, but we will be seeing the entomologist and the embalmer band as well. Not things that you want to see. Hello, Jupy, welcome back. Annie. Yeah, we're waiting on the Persona web selection, and we should be getting into the Hunter pick shortly. I would say that they can probably afford to get a little bit more I'm not cocky with it, but like a little bit more out of the ordinary. Um, but I feel like we could probably see a few flywheels coming out here, especially on the acrobat. Would be safe, but yeah, it'll. Oh, okay, we're going to go with the Night Watch. Ah, Night Watch scares me. Night Watch picks scare me so much, especially on big maps like this, because the nerf absolutely, I don't want to say it demolished him. Obviously, he can still be used very well in the right hands. He's still a pretty powerful hunter, but the dash is not good anymore. It's just, and especially on Lakeside Village, when you have to cross the map. Nightwatch used to be great at crossing the map. Not so much anymore. We're looking at Nerf Nightwatch. We're looking at a toy merchant. We're looking at a prospector as well. It's not going to be fun. There's a lot of, and then mercenary, obviously, there's a lot of distance that can be broken on this team. Not so much acrobat, but acrobat can just ball out of the way of the wind. Um, so there's really not an easy. I would say prospector might be the easiest first chase here. Maybe toy merchant, but she is going to spawn directly in a position to rotate to the boat. They're kind of locking off that boat here. Um, or, I mean, yeah, Kruger's not going to want to spawn on the big boat, obviously. We're actually going to spawn in the shack here, right next to the acrobat and kind of near the mercenary. Going for mercenary wouldn't be too terrible here. If we bring insolence, then going for the mercenary wouldn't be too terrible. But it's really just a grab bag. I would say maybe the toy merchant, but she is going to rotate obviously towards the big boat. Prospector kind of out of the way. Zeta rotations though, with Zeta rotations, it's not going to be easy. Because they will just rotate out of the way. And force toy merchant to take the first chase. Force Kruger to go into the boat, not being able to find anybody else. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all, and it's going to be they have 7 points just to tie it up, 8 points to really make a dent. But I think in that case they do have to do they have to have a perfect round? I don't think they might be able to afford. They would need to like get a 3-man and then a 4-man, I think. No, that would be 7 points. Well, 7 points would tie it. So yeah, they need to. Kruger needs to 4K, or the survivors need to 4 escape. Um, one of them needs to get 5 points. The other one needs to get 3 at minimum. If I'm calculating this correctly, which I might not be. But I'm pretty sure that's correct. Anyway, um, Kruger is going to head directly towards, it looks like kind of the middle here. Obviously anticipating a little bit of rotation from Zeta, but heading pretty much directly towards Kazuneko, who is obviously rotating directly towards the big boat. We're just kind of getting our charges in here. First, sending our skills into cooldown, but that's not really a big deal. Nightwatch has pretty short cooldowns, so, it is what it is. Crew getting a little bit turned around here, doesn't really want to go into the boat, and not able to find any blood trails right away. So we are just going to be kind of rotating away. But we're kind of we're not really heading in the right direction here either way we spin it. So it's not a great start here from Kruger getting turned around just by the skill of Zeta rotations, but it does look like we have spotted Hametsu, maybe. Maybe. We do have tinnitus here, but we are okay. We have spotted out the prospector here. Going to get a very nice first stun in there. Prospector does still have one more magnet left to utilize, so we could definitely see that coming into play sooner than later. The pro of having a stunner going up against a night watch is that the wind is basically useless um against him. But yeah, we are going to get our second magnet in play here. Doesn't look like Hamasu quite has another one up yet, but a beautiful stun there onto that pole. A very long stun at that. So that's going to buy Hamatsu a pretty good amount of time. Heading into near the small boat, not wanting to get Terror Shock there. Very nice discipline from Prospector there, not wanting to take that hit, just going to hang out there until the basic hit goes through, not wanting to get Terror Shocked. So nicely done there. We do still have Flywheel to work with, so we could definitely see that coming through sooner or later. Nice pallet drop. We are going to see Blink coming into play and countered by a Magnet. Very, very nicely done there. But we are kind of playing around here looking for the... Oh, that's a hit! Oh my goodness, that was a very, very well-timed flywheel there. Just missing out the heavy hits somehow, just hitting that sweet spot, I guess, of the Nightwatch hitbox, or I guess the whatever the opposite of a sweet spot is. Hamatsu is going to go down here, but what a first chase. That is going to be a 3 Cypher Kite, nearly a 4 Cypher Kite. Wow. Yeah, yeah, literally. Sorry, sorry for asking for Kazuneko Prospector. That was a beautiful performance there. Dungeon is going to spawn, so Kruger knows exactly where it is. Mochi coming in for the rescue though. Going to beautiful elbow pad right past, right to the chair. And that is going to be a very clean before half rescue. So very well done there. And we have both of our final ciphers are being worked on, and that is we're seeing there kind of how much the dash has been nerfed. Um, yeah, I think Kazuneko did randomly use a bomb, but it's okay. I think he's allowed. We are going to continue to the small boat here. Hamatsu is going to go down. Still has another chair to sit on though, so it's not the worst situation to be in. For Zeta, they really just need to get. I think bare minimum, if they just get one man escape, they still win. So that's really it. As long as Alf one man elimination, as long as Zeta gets one man escape, it's good. Okay, no, that did that I don't even know what just happened. But we are going to get a firebomb in on Kruger. And we're just going to try and pressure the cipher as much as possible. Oh wait, well, I was gonna say, we don't have trump card to work with because we have insolence. We do in fact have trump card to work with. Kruger does not have detention, which is really not a situation that you want to be in right now when you have basically a guaranteed 4-man endgame. Anything could happen though. We do have Kazuneko on this kite, is at half health and right over the cipher that's being decoded. They haven't opened up a new one yet. I feel like they will open up a new one in okay, yeah. As I'm saying that, obviously, they will open up a new cipher. We do have accelerated decoding. I believe it is okay, it's Prospector on that one. But Kazuneko is gonna go to basement here, so that's not gonna be fun to rescue from. But of course, we do still have all they need is basically one man escape. Because Alf will very likely secure at least one elimination. So even if Zeta survivors flop here, it's still safe, but we are going to see Toy Merchant heading towards the basement here, actually heading away from the basement, wanting to waste as much time as possible. And Mochi's actually going to sneak in there for the rescue, which is yeah, that's very very well done there. Obviously, Mercenary at half health isn't an ideal situation to be in, but with the Toy Merchant working as a distraction, very good communication here. Mochi actually blocking off the exit there, allowing Kazuneko to escape here. Very, very well done. Communication, coordination. This is really just Zeta. It's really just Zeta. But the cipher was primed here. We are looking at no detention from Kruger, so we could very nicely done on that wind. Um, very, very nicely done. Oh, and a beautiful firebomb there. It's actually not going to connect. Kruger is going to use Blink. Unfortunately, going to miss the hit. But Kazuneko is going to go down here. I didn't actually see if that chair was before half or not, but we are just going to switch targets over to Dolisu and force that catapult to be used. Force Dolisu to transition away. It looks like they are still going to be able to get the gate open. Um, Dolisu heading back towards the gate. It's at 88%. It's going to be just, a few seconds to open. And Kazuneko is going to see that chair. Gate is open. They do have essentially what is a confirmed 3-man escape here. I would say, yeah, Kazuneko was rescued before half, but I would say, in the interest of just getting as many escapes as possible, I think that might be it. I think Zeta automatically wins here. Um, because they can't. I don't. Or are they going to play through the second half? Because I don't think there's a win condition here, unless I've done my math wrong this whole time. I don't think they can win. So I'm just gonna we will see. As much as I can skip through, they might still just play through the second half of the round. Yeah, it's 16-7. There's no way for that to go through. So I think oh nope, they are going to play the second half of the round. But I do think that Zeta has confirmed one. So that's really, no pressure on Alpha at all. Uh yeah. Anyway, yeah, we will keep watching this because it's still going. I'm just gonna get to the proper time. I could just use my timestamps, but it is what it is. Okay, yeah. We are going to play the second half of the round, so yeah, Alf gets to have fun. So I would say it is out of respect. Coming from Checkmate, they would not have done this, which it would have just ended. But yeah, I do kind of appreciate that they do kind of allow that they allowed that to happen. But we're going to get right into our bans and picks. They have banned Bonbon, which makes sense here. We're going to actually ban out not the Priestess, but we will ban the Seer and the Antiquarian. And they're actually going to lock in the Toy Merchant and the Entomologist. A little bit interesting that we're not seeing the Priestess here. I had to like triple check, make sure she's not banned. But we are actually going to see the forward ban and the prospector locked in. So yeah, another toy merchant. Glad to see the excitement. Um, yeah, we're going to ban the mercenary here. So really trying to lock out that stable rescuer. I would say they might go with a wild. I want to see a priestess. I really genuinely want to see a priestess here. Even if we already have the toy merchant. Okay, yeah, we are going to see the first officer. But even if we already have the toy merchant, um, I feel like I guess I understand not picking priestess. Um, toy merchant is a little bit more of a situationally good kiter. Um, but I enjoy seeing Priestess. Especially when she's not banned. So, yeah, but we will be looking at the entomologist, first officer, prospector, and the toy merchant. And we'll just have to see who Alf plays. It really doesn't matter at this point, because there is no way for Fab to bring this back. But it is what it is. Yeah, he can really just play anybody because there's no stakes here. Um, he can do anything he wants. He can do whatever his heart desires, which is a beautiful situation for Elf to be in. Um, this has been a very stressless matchup. Okay, we're gonna go with the Geisha again. Not bad considering she is very good on this map, and also we did just see him perform very well with the Geisha. Again, it doesn't matter, but even if it doesn't matter, getting as many points as possible is still good, obviously. It's good to win. So, yeah. But we will be getting our spawn picks in. We'll have the first officer spawning at the small boat, entomologist spawning in the middle, kind of as a bait here, but obviously able to transition towards either the small or the big boat right away. Prospector spawning in the shack, and toy merchant spawning at the big boat just right away, not even looking for a rotation here. And we will be seeing Alf spawn kind of near the entomologist. Definitely interested to see if the entomologist is able to get in the way again, or if it means anything to get in the way. But we will see. We will see. Nightmare was played a few times in Call of the Abyss, I think. After release, I think it was co. I if I want to say there were definitely a few nightmares. Nightmare did get picked. It was either Koa. I think it was Koa 5. It might have been Koa 6. I don't actually remember when Nightmare got released, but yeah, Nightmare was picked. I think it was like a handful of times. It was a few times. But it was in qualifiers. I think it was in some qualifiers for something. I definitely remember Nightmare getting picked. And it was always very painful because he was never very good. But I do remember Nightmare coming out, and it was bad, which is why we don't play Nightmare in tournament, um, because he's very easily counterable. Anyway, we're going to get into it. We've got Flywheel on Entomologist, Flywheel on Prospector. Oh, we actually went full Flywheel here. I think they might have been. Well, I guess Flywheel's not bad against Geisha. So yeah, but we're actually going to see Toy Merchant with no borrowed time. She will be having broken windows instead. Everybody else has borrowed time. Obviously, first officer has tied. I don't really think I need to go through that one. It looks like we've actually swapped out for Apai here. So a different rescuer this time around, but we will be getting right into it. And Felix taking a bit of an interesting kiting route here, right into the open. Doesn't look like he's actually set up a catapult. Is going to try and set it up right now. Okay, it actually is going to go through. That was a little bit risky. Um, not quite, I think, what Felix wanted. At least allowing that hit in there. But yeah, usually when survivors rotate towards that blank corner, there's usually a catapult there. But yeah, that was that was scary. We're going to continue this chase, but it's not looking great. We're going to have very nicely done with the butterfly, but the bees coming in to support there. Just delaying that hit a little bit longer. It does look like we will be taking the hit here, but Toy Merchant does have flywheel. Very nicely done on that flywheel. We're going to see the oh my goodness, the glider activated once again, but a beautiful fall hit blink there just to cut this chase short. The catapult obviously still in the area, but it's going to be broken. Almost guaranteed it's going to be broken right now. Yeah, Alpha is going to go ahead and break that catapult, not wanting it to be used for a rebound kite here. Um, and I mean, their cyber progress actually isn't that bad. Cyber progress isn't that bad at all. But we are still obviously one cipher's lagging behind, but that's just because it's the first officer cipher. Um, or no, that's actually not the first officer cipher. Anyway, I would say it's probably the entomologist. Okay, yeah, it is the entomologist because she was harassing. We're going to get a hit in on Toy Merchant right away, but it's not going to be a double down, so could be worse. We're still kind of in a draw situation here. Going to just take that extra hit in there to bring Alf to full presence. But yeah, the entomologist support has been really effective, especially against Geisha, because it does just slow down her dash. It stops and slows down her dash. So it's always exciting to see entomologist support. She's kind of like a passive supporter, which is always fun. Um, but yeah, we will be having our second share go off here. We're at 4 ciphers remaining, basically 3 ciphers remaining, almost 2 ciphers remaining, but I don't know if it would be safe to call that. Oh, that was not, in fact, a hit out of attack recovery. I thought it was for a second, but just at the edge of the Geisha's hitbox, that magnet went through. Very nicely played there. We're going to get a nice long stun in and giving Felix a lot of time to transition away. That was very, very well done by the prospector. We've got two ciphers started here, one nearly done, the other at about 50%. Haven't started their final cipher yet, but there is still time to do that. We will be seeing the prospector come through to support this chase, which is why we haven't started our final cipher yet. Prospector is busy. But we will be continuing this chase here. A very good area to continue as well. Prospector is just going to go down though. Alf again knowing that the result of this match doesn't really matter as well as just wanting to get the prospector out of the way. But it looks like Entomologist is actually coming in here to support as well. They are still a cipher down though, so it's not really a great idea. It's not really a situation where you want to have this many players supporting because they don't have that final cipher primed. Or even started at all. There's no final cipher here. It is stuck. I mean, they're going to have one cipher remaining, but they do not have that final cipher, which is kind of detrimental, I would say. Prospector has utilized that self heal in order to come back up, but not really. Kind of a misjudged pushback there. We do have all the survivors rallying around here. Very nicely done by Entomologist, though, to put those bees in the way. But we are actually going to start that last cipher if they're able to just kind of contain long enough, but it doesn't look like that will be the case. And a terror shock is going to go through on the toy merchant. Toy merchant will be momentarily sent back to the manor. But obviously Prospector's still in the area. Entomologist is still in the area. Prospector does not have any magnets remaining, though, so this will be... Oh, actually, just got a magnet up. Are we going to see it come into play? No, not quite close enough. Doesn't really want to take the risk here. That will be Felix sent back to the manor. And we're actually going to teleport right over to the first officer. Very nicely done on that magnet. Throwing Alf off enough to delay. But, of course, we have no other cipher started. That is the only cipher on the map that's been touched, other than the ones that have already been completed. But Alf just going to kind of hang back here, wait for that final pocket watch shake so that it overlaps with the real first officer, and we'll be able to spot out Appai that way. Very good discipline. And they haven't, well, they are going to, they're going to need to take a break to heal each other because once first officer goes down, there's really nobody who can rescue. But Nerisu is going to be able to both rescue and harass. And we will be seeing that final cipher started. So, yeah. Well, another final cipher started, I should say, because they had to abandon the last one because it got teleported on. Not great if you are Fab Gaming. But we're just going to leave the first officer's chair entirely alone. First officer is going to be rescued here. And we're going to go after the entomologist. But a beautiful pallet stun, very nicely done. Entomologist will be able to continue this chase. Going to have very little bit of bees left. But they haven't quite made it back to that cipher. Nice flywheel though, just to avoid that hit. But unfortunately, we are going to get hit with that pallet. Teleport's not quite up yet. It's nearly up. It's got about 10 seconds of cooldown by the time I finish saying this. And Entomologist will be chaired. By the time Entomologist is chaired, I would say Alpha is probably going to just teleport right back to that cipher. Not really too concerned about leaving the chairs unguarded. His main goal here is to prevent that final cipher from popping, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Just teleport right over to the first officer. First officer is going to go straight down. Entomologist is going to be rescued here, but it doesn't really matter. Again, he only needs to just, it doesn't matter. Period. But again, he only needs to get just as many eliminations as possible. And yeah, we are going to actually chair Appai in the basement here, which is going to make Nerisu's job of running across the map very, very difficult. There's a lot longer of a distance to run here. Looks like we haven't quite returned to the cipher either. It looks like Entomologist is actually trying to return to the cipher that's on the boat. But we will be spotting out the prospector here. And just waiting on that hit. I'll just try to waste as much time as possible. Doesn't want to give Nerisu a speed boost here. That's the main thing. Just waste as much time as possible, slowing down, and oh, we're actually going to be able to get that rescue as the last possible second. And if Alpha isn't careful, that cipher is going to be primed. A beautiful stun by the prospector. This will be potentially a three. Well, yeah, it will be a three-man endgame unless, I don't know, some kind of crazy fall hit comes through. But yeah, with the entomologist taking over that cipher, this is going to be primed. So first officer will get back up. Very well done there by Fab Gaming. Um, just not giving up here, continuing this chase, continuing this match. They are in a draw situation here as long as they are able to just keep this going. But first officer is going to go down. Alpha's going to go for that chair. He is dead on chair. But teleport is up once again. So Alpha obviously is going to teleport over to the boat gate and is going to get caught in the bees momentarily, but those bees are gone now. Oh no, actually they had a little bit left on them. Okay, now they're gone. Yeah. I thought they would be gone then, but apparently they had just enough left on them for Yoke to recall them, and that's gonna be that. But a little bit of mind gaming around there. Looks like that gate is going to be open. So at the very least, Prospector will be able to escape. It just remains to be seen if Entomologist will be able to as well. But Prospector can come through to harass here. Oh, a beautiful flywheel there. Um, but of course, Entomologist is going to go down. Prospector is going to go for a solo escape, and that is going to be Zeta's victory. Very, very fun. Very well played by Zeta. And also by Fav. I mean, getting a getting that format elimination. I think where they really, if that wax artist match had gone differently, I feel like maybe they would have stood more of a chance. But I mean, that's not entirely Chicken's fault either. It was very much the coordination, the communication of Zeta as a Survivor team is incredible. And that's really like that is what it comes down to. It's not nearly as Hunter side of a game anymore. But when you have coordinated survivors like that, like it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I am going to take about maybe 2 minutes of a break before getting into RCU versus Scars, which is going to be very, very fun. Two very, very exciting teams. But I will be taking a short break to refill my water so that I don't die. So I will be right back. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Thank you guys for watching, etc., etc. And I will see you shortly. All right, welcome back. Hope we all got hydrated, plenty of water, um, preserving my voice as much as I possibly can. But yeah, sorry, kind of very, very late, sorry, but sorry that the ads overlapped the end of one of the first matches. I forgot to have Stream Manager open, and it got caught in an ad, but it's okay. It was an opera singer match, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. Anyway, speaking of opera singer though, we are going to enter Scars versus RC, and possibly the only opera singer that is actually interesting to watch is Peter, who is absolutely completely insane. Very, very excited. It is, if in case you guys missed um the previous IGL streams that I've done, Peter, it's his first time hunting professionally. He's kind of been in the sphere of things, but hasn't been old enough to compete officially. Um, so I think he 4K'd wolves, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if Ray is still on the stream, but that could fact check me. Um, but I'm pretty sure that happened. Anyway, we're going to be getting right into it. Looks like Scars is going to lock in Seer and Gardener first. We've banned out both of our primary rescuers here um with the mercenary and the first officer. We're also going to ban the antiquarian. But interestingly enough, we've actually gone onto Red Church, which is not a map that we see nearly as often, if at all, I would say, when it comes to Opera Singer. It's a very rare map, especially, I mean, because 99% of the time teams want to kind of um, well, preserve their survivors as much as they can. And having the opera singer kind of isn't ideal for that. Um, but yeah, we will be heading into this. It looks like we also banned the coordinator. In return, we are going to see the forward and the female dancer. So a very exciting lineup. Not really a lineup that you want to see when it comes to being an opera singer. But then again, this is Peter, who has one of, if not the best opera singer. Oh my God, Fathead. Uh, as one of, if not the best opera singers. Very nice to see Fathead as well. Interestingly enough, Fathead Naib is not one of the Fatheads that is imprisoned on the on the IVL stage. So it's been a while since we've seen him. But I do have one of my own, so I see him more often than not. But what a beautiful cameo there. I do like it when they cut to the fatheads in the audience. I really do. But yeah, I mean, we will be seeing opera singer here. It's kind of not. It's not a question of if; it's a question of when. But when would be after they select talents here? I would say we might want to go a little bit more aggressive with them, but we will see what they decide to do. Either way, though, yeah, okay, we are on the hunter pick here. It's going to be opera singer. Yep, call me psychic, call me the seer. Call me watching way too much competitive tournament in my free time. But yeah, definitely very excited to see what they're able to do here. We haven't seen Dancer in a while, I don't think. It's been a minute since we've seen a Dancer pick. It's also been a minute since we've seen um a Seer come out, but Scars does tend to lock in that Seer first. They're really not concerned about having that option in later rounds. They're also not really concerned about giving that free ban. And they have been able to utilize the Seer pretty effectively in their Opera Singer matches. So I'm pretty excited to see if that Seer is able to do as much on a smaller map, because the key is kind of having the Seer away from the action, but able to support with the Owls. But we will be seeing Peter spawn right next to that Seer, so we could definitely see Seer becoming that first chase. It's a lot of C, but we could also have the Dancer as the first chase here, I would say, or the Gardener. It really is up to whatever Peter decides to do, as well as Scar's rotations. Obviously, need to keep those in mind. Um, but with an opera singer as fast and as smooth as Peter, there's not going to be a lot of room for these survivors to escape. So I would honestly, I mean, I, I would be surprised if Scar is picked Red Church, but I would also equally be surprised if RC picked Red Church. Is just because you want to preserve your survivors. It's a very surprising map pick here because you're basically trapped here with the opera singer. She's a little bit like a dream witch in that sense, but even more so, there is just no way to escape her, because it's so small and so enclosed. Like there's nowhere you can go. But we are going to see, we actually are going to see, no, well, we're going to see one borrowed time on the seer. But interestingly enough, we're not going to see any other instances of borrowed time here. We're going to have both the forward and the gardener, with that broken windows and tide turner, and we're going to have broken windows and flywheel on the dancers. So those are very aggressive builds here. Really kind of taking that China strategy, I would say, of having as many tide turners as possible just to waste as much time as they can. But it looks like we're going to have the dancer on first chase here. It's not going to, I would say it's not unexpected having the dancer as the first chase. But oh, beautiful owl there. Owl has come back. And very good use of the box as well. Peter can definitely take the extra time to break this box. Yeah, is going to kind of need to, but we already have another box set up here. We do have our first hit in on the dancer. And oh, not great timing on that pallet drop. Shinami is going to go straight down. Hasn't used flywheel. A little bit unfortunate. Can definitely use that flywheel on the rebound kite. Looks like forward's actually in the area though. Ooh, and a beautiful pallet stun there. Very nice to see Black Nose as well. I'm biased, but yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate here for Shinami. Monet not also not going to be able to come in for this, but it looks like we are going to just stun for that guaranteed rescue. Um, Opera Singer does have Blink here, so we're not going to be looking at an excitement situation. Not really afraid of that. Not really afraid of that forward, but Shinami is going to take another hit here. Still not using that flywheel. It might be a timing issue, but yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate here. Shinami is going to go straight down. Thankfully, basement is not here. That's really kind of the only good thing about the situation is that basement isn't here, so they can go for a second rescue. But Sora actually didn't break that chair. And there was definitely a lot of time to break that chair. So there's been an interesting lack of gardeners breaking chairs, which is also it's a little bit interesting to me because I know that Alf was actually complaining about gardeners breaking chairs. But even with the Gardner meta, she's been more used for for her ability to have the shield than she's been used to break chairs. But Shinami is going to go down again. I got a bit distracted there, but Shinami is going to go down once again. Um, was actually able to use that flywheel, so that's good, but a little bit unfortunate that he will be going back to the manor. But our cipher progress honestly isn't too bad here. We haven't started that third cipher. We haven't started that final cipher. We have our second and third ciphers with a decent amount of progress on them. Looks like we are going to start that final cipher now. It's a matter of heading back to, I believe, the cipher in the shack was the one that was being worked on before. But either way, we will be seeing the seer take this chase. We don't have an owl to work with yet. Beautiful work there by Peter, just going straight through that pallet, not worrying about the pallet drop. And oh, yeah, that was a very, very fast down there. Takoyaki not having a lot to work with, and it's really kind of impossible to tight kite an opera singer. It's really not what you want to do. Opera singer is very, again, very, very, very good on Red Church. So yeah, not a situation you want to be in if you are Scars. Not really a situation you want to be in if you're RC either, thinking about their survivor round. But Peter obviously having a very good time here, kind of in his element on this map. But yeah, Takoyaki is going to be chaired. We've actually utilized both of our tide turners here, unfortunately, from both the seer and both the gardener and the forward. Seer is going to just continue to marinate on chair. They might actually be selling him, but it looks like Peter is actually going to switch to abnormal. And is going to abnormal their second to last cipher. But they do still have, yeah, they do still have that final cipher started. Um, or they have their second cipher started. Abnormaling, I guess, what has now become the final cipher. But Mona's actually going to go down here. Seer is going to be able to transition away. Of course, Peter is just going to teleport back, and there is no owl in sight, so Takoyaki will be going straight down once again. This is, again, kind of what I was saying at the start of the round, where it's a bit of a you're stuck in here with me situation in such a small map. There's really nowhere for these survivors to run. Sora taking a free hit there, just going straight through the pallet. It really is just the confidence of Peter here to have this kind of patience, have this, lack of fear of those pallets, just heading straight through them. Sora is going to go down. Monet is still does still have self heal left to use. Looks like we're just going to drop Sora and head back over to where Monet dropped. But I think at this point we can probably self heal. They've been doing a lot of interesting stuff with the self heals lately. Just wasting time, I think, is the main issue here. Peter finding where the dungeon is, making sure that there's no one left around it. Are we going to spot out Mona here? It doesn't look like we have Deer Hunt. Maybe? Do we know? Okay, we've spotted out where Monet is. It looks like we're just going to go for that chair. Sora can still self heal, but are we going to is the real question. This is a format elimination. Um, there's not much that they can do to really bring it back, especially since neither of these survivors have. Well, yeah, neither of these survivors have been shared yet, so it's not going to. It's not going to be easy for them. Uh, kind of standing there for a second, trying to bait Sora into using that self heal, but it is still going to be a 4-man elimination here in the first round, which is to be expected, especially from Peter. What an amazing performance there. Just absolute domination. Complete and utter domination there, from Peter. It's just crazy to see what can be done with the opera singer, especially like I need to, you know what? I am actually going to go back and see who picked the map because I just don't. Did they do it before or after they introduced the teams is the real question. Let's say they probably did it after. So it's not too much that I have to go back. Okay, so why did Scars pick Red Church? RC banned Sacred Heart Hospital, Scars picked Red Church. I guess they wanted to give Burio an advantage, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it is it's kind of the situation like I was talking about last time where if as long as you tie the first round, you're fine. But that just feels like such I guess it's a very confident decision as well. Um but yeah. Hmm. I don't know. There's a lot to think about. But we will be getting into the second half of the first round. Burio does need to get a 4-man elimination here in order to tie things up, and allow a blank slate coming into the next round. But it is Opera Singer on Red Church, so yeah, I guess they really are going to play for that tie in the first round, and then just allow for that draw, so that automatically goes to round three. So we are going to lock out the Antiquarian here, which is a little bit interesting. We're going to pick the Antiquarian and the Patient. Um, going to ban. Oh, okay. Well, we banned the Gardener as well as the Explorer, which is a little bit interesting. I feel like Explorer is not as strong on a map like Red Church just because of its size, but there are a lot of places for him to hide, so I do get it. It's just a little bit easier to sniff him out. But we're going to ban the Seer as well as the Priestess here. So okay, we're going to go with the magician. Yeah, magician just to counter that opera singer once again. But so it's a pretty strong lineup here coming against an opera singer. Having the obviously antiquarian is good. Patient does tend to struggle a little bit, but on a map like Red Church, I feel like might fare a little bit better just because of the walls. I feel like maybe yeah. I mean, this is just me, but I feel like Aeroplanus might be better than Patient in this situation just because he can get over the walls a little bit more effectively and with a little bit more distance. But again, that only works once, so also I'm biased. The day that a professional team uses an aeroplanist is the day I die. But we will obviously have the mercenary coming out here as well. Um, banning the gardener, I guess banning the gardener makes sense with an opera singer. Um, Yeah, but I feel like it is interesting. Well, you know what? It makes sense because if you want to force, that more aggressive pick, like the antiquarian coming out or the patient, those can also be used in later rounds in order to counter other hunters. So forcing them to come out here by banning the gardener, it definitely makes sense. Um, but it is what it is. It's still not a really nice team comp to go against, especially when you are shooting for a four-man elimination. But it's also Red Church, with an opera singer. So there's also that to keep in mind that this is the opera singer's home turf. There's not a lot that the survivors can do to really counter her in this situation. They just need to contain as long as possible and hope for the best. But we will be seeing looks like Burio is going to opt to spawn a little bit closer to the mercenary, which it really is just a 50-50 shot there, I feel like. Antiquarian's going to be in the center of the map. Magician's going to be near the graveyard, and Mercenary is going to be kind of out in the open. We could definitely go for Mercenary first. Opera Singer is one of the hunters that doesn't really suffer from chasing the mercenary first. She can catch up very, very easily. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to see what they decide to go with. Um and how well RC is able to contain this opera singer. I mean, obviously they do have Peter to practice against, so I feel like it's not the worst situation they could possibly be in. But yeah, it's not a fun situation, I would say, if you are Scars, because you do have to get that four-man elimination. It's a pretty formidable team to go against, and they need to get the four-man elimination um, in order to tie the round. That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, oh goodness, I missed the entirety of the Persona webs there. So we'll find out. Looks like we are carrying trump card tension, and I think abnormal on Burio. We're going to have Flywheel and Broken Windows on Magician, and Rowley is going to take the first chase here with just Broken Windows as well as Borrowed Time. City is obviously going to have Tide Turner. It looks like Ivory is also carrying that Broken Windows and Flywheel. So I'm a little bit late on the game. My apologies. But Rowley is going to take that first hit there, has utilized one hook, and is just going to continue this as long as possible, but it might not be for that long. We are kind of looking at Burio trying to line up for that double back. We'll be heading towards the corner here, not getting that hidden through the pallet though. That's a little bit crucial there. And Riley does still have one hook left to utilize, but doing a pretty good job of just keeping Burio contained here. We're actually transitioning over to the graveyard, but able to get that hidden through a pallet. So that containment will be cut short there. A little bit over 60 seconds, not terrible. The ciphers are all past half, so it could definitely be a worse situation here for RC, but it's also not ideal. Um, but also it is an opera singer, so there really is a lot to keep in mind. Yeah, it does look like that was abnormal. We are going to abnormal one of their ciphers back down to basically nothing. It's going to be at about 20%, because obviously Soba was still in the area. But yeah, having the abnormal here, especially on a map like Red Church, is so effective because you're basically always dying on top of a cipher, and that's really what abnormal relies on, is dying on top of a cipher, and that is exactly what's happening, regardless of where you are on the map. But it looks like we might actually be selling Rowley, or at the very least going for that 99% rescue. Um, it really just depends on if we will be getting there in time. It does look like City was able to come in time, kind of out of the way as well. So very good job rotating around Rowley. And Patient will be going down here, Burio, just trying to get to that full presence. But very good job just wasting as much time as possible, using that tide turn at the last possible second, and Rowley running as far away as possible from the rest of the RC survivors, just to make Burrio's life harder, preserve as much time as possible here for them to kind of recover some of that cipher progress. And yeah, hopefully it looks like what is Ivory doing in the basement? I think Ivory's in the basement to attempt to hide from Burio pressuring the cipher. Um, and I think it's going to be pretty effective here actually because we oh, unless Burio figures it out, it looks like Burio has actually figured out that Ivory is in the basement here, and we will be seeing that this is a very interesting place to contain, I will say. But we will be getting that basic hit in on Ivory, and yeah, it's kind of starting from nothing here, I would say, but very beautiful flywheel down there. Um, and oh, flipping through the window there, it's able to get a lot of distance here, getting a lot of distance on Burio. A very nice disarm as well. And it looks like our cipher progress is pretty good here. We have only one cipher being decoded right now, but both City and Soba are on full health, able to come in for a rescue when it inevitably needs to happen. And Ivory is going to go down here. Is that above the basement, though? No. Okay. Why did I say that? Basement was in the shack. Anyway, um, we get a little silly, but yeah. Ivory will actually be going towards the shack here. I would say looking for a basement on second chair. We do have two ciphers remaining, though. It's very shortly going to be one cipher. A little bit of a mistimed um elbow pad there from City, unfortunately, is still going to take that hit going in, but not the worst outcome. Did allow that rescue to go off. It looks like we're actually going to continue to go after City here. Ooh, not getting that hit. I thought that might have been a hit from the wall. Taking a few taking a few chances there to hit City. But unfortunately it's just um not going to last very long for City here. We do have one cipher remaining here. It looks like we've actually are we going to continue that new one? No, it looks. Are we going to, well, we have one cipher at 38%, one cipher at 3% that I would say was just tapped. But Ivory is returning to a cipher right over the dungeon. It looks like no, actually, Burrito is going to force him away from that. Soba has returned to that 39% cipher. It is going to be worked on, but there's only so long that Ivory can contain for here. So I don't think that that's really going to work out. We do still have Flywheel to work with. Very nice flywheel there. Unfortunately, Ivory is going to go down. There's no one in the area to rescue City. So that's not ideal here. But they do only need a one-man escape. They really only need a one-man escape. But Burrito is going to switch to teleport here. It looks like Soba is actually heading into the church. Both of these chairs are after half, but Magician can contain for a pretty long time here. And I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Soba's able to contain here to get dungeon. It's not a bad situation to be in. Both of the remaining survivors are chaired, but not able to get that flywheel out in time. We do still have flywheel to work with, as well as one more wand. Beautiful pallet stun there. And it really is just going to be a chase or a race to the dungeon. Burio kind of trying to cut him off here. Dungeon is at graveyard, so Soba does have a little bit of a ways to go, but there is no blink in play. Soba still has that decoy as well as flywheel to utilize. We're going to use that decoy here, but kind of doubling back, trying to get Burio to lose his trail. We're getting closer. Oh wait, no, Dungeon's not at the graveyard. Dungeon was over in the corner. I lied. That was a very valiant effort, though, trying to reach that dungeon, but it will, of course, be a four-man elimination, which is not surprising because it's an opera singer, which is just so it's a little bit disappointing if I'm going to be honest. It's a little bit disappointing. Um just to have, that predictable outcome here being you know, the tie being the double four-man elimination. But, it is what it is, and it was a very good fight put up by RC. And I feel like if it hadn't been Red Church, I feel like Red Church really was picked by Scars in order to try and give Burio as much of an advantage as possible because they really did put up a fight there. Um and with that end game, if the dungeon had just been in a slightly better location, RC might have gotten that one man escape, but of course they didn't. So yeah, there is no point in really harping on that, I guess. But yeah, we will be heading into the second half. Or the second round, I should say, not the second half. Um, but yeah, it's a blank slate once again. And we're on Arms Factory, so we will be banning out the Seer as well as the Explorer. And oh, so RC has opted to ban the Bloody Queen instead of the Opera Singer. I I mean, I guess. I don't think we've actually seen Laddie's Opera Singer, at least in tournament. So it's a little bit unprecedented. I guess I was just saying that RC is very coordinated against the opera singer. So they can definitely afford to do something like this. But yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I got so distracted by the Bloody Queen pick that I forgot to go through the band picks. We're going to have the acrobat, female dancer, first officer, and the painter. We've been seeing painter quite a bit. In IVL, I don't think we've been seeing the painter as much in IJL, but it's a little bit a lot of this is just it's very surprising here. I would say that Laddie will probably go with that opera singer because it's not, again, if she's not banned, then why not? Um but yeah, having the painter come out here, it's a little bit surprising, but painter has been doing pretty well as a container. I feel like people do underestimate the painter a lot. I, I do enjoy painter, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but it's not the worst option. I'm very surprised that they didn't ban the opera singer, but I feel like yeah. Anyway, well, they brought us in a little bit late to the spawn picks here, but it looks like Painter is kind of baiting that first chase here, which is really interesting. Okay, Laddie is kind of switching sides here. We'll see where Laddie decides to spawn because spawning here, Dancer is not going to be fun to deal with in the factory. 100% Dancer is not going to be fun to deal with. Acrobat as well is not going to be great. I feel like Painter really is the best option. The problem with Painter against Opera Singer, I feel like, is that there's just not enough time to paint. Just straight up, there's not enough time to paint. Um, because it takes a significant amount of time to get to get that stun. And if Opera Singer just catches up to you before you can finish the painting, then there's nothing. There's nothing you can do. So it really is up to just Soba's ability to contain. I would definitely expect there to be broken windows on here just to be able to get enough distance after recording the Hunter's appearance. Um, just get enough distance to finish that painting. Yeah, we will be seeing broken windows on that painter, broken windows as well on all members of the team, except for the first officer who will be carrying Tide Turner. It's yeah, I'm very excited to see how Silva plays Painter. I don't think we've actually seen a Painter at all in IJL, or at least if we have, I've missed it. But yeah, that is in fact a Painter. Um, yeah, a little bit unprecedented, but I am always excited to see um unprecedented picks. I enjoy them very much, but we will be heading right into it. It looks like we're actually going to go for the dancer first here. Not afraid of these boxes. Riley actually going to place a fast box instead of a slow box, but oh, not going to get caught out there using the speed boost from both the broken windows and the fast box here. Very nicely done. Nearly got caught out by that double back, but we will be able to continue this containment for quite some time. It does look like we are carrying Blink as well as Trump Card on the Opera Singer and a nicely done slow box as well. So forcing Lati to break these boxes and a lot of containment here. We're already nearly a minute into the match. We haven't quite gotten our first hit in yet. Blink is up in about 15 seconds. So not a bad start here from RC. Definitely showing, I would say, well, maybe it's a little early to say that. I would say I'll save that. I'll save that for later. But yeah, able to continue this game. It does look like we are going to take our first hit in here. Blink is up and ready to go, but we still have this fast box to work with as well as the window. Obviously, the window will be rendered kind of useless once Blink is in play. But we will be doubling back here. Rowley does need to be careful with Blink. But of course, not even going to need to be used. Rowley will be going down here, but that is over a minute of containment. We do have nearly two ciphers finished, as well as the third over halfway done. That was, I believe, the first officer's cipher, so it will be returned to once the first officer comes to rescue. So a very, very good start here from RC. And I think it's safe to say that it's definitely showing that they were prepared. They are prepared for Opera Singer. Um, and they're prepared to have that communication in order to counter her, in order to kite her. I do think it's interesting as well that Laddie decided to go for the dancer instead of the painter, who was kind of just bait in the middle. I guess. Oh, a beautiful pirouette there. But I guess, yeah, just having that confidence to go for the dancer, I feel like it's not really paying off. But Rowley playing around this window here is going to take that hit there, unfortunately. Um, yeah, playing a little bit too much around the window, I would say. But yeah, we will be seeing that down. Of course, basement's not here, so it's a little bit unfortunate for Laddie in that case. Would probably have liked to get some basement chairs going, but also it does make it a safe containment spot, which would be why Dancer didn't teleport out of it. Or teleport, oh my god, rotate out of it. But Dancer will be on that second chair. We have all three of our final ciphers started, which was something that was severely lacking in the last games. But yeah, having all three of our ciphers started here and nearly finished as well. So that is very, very good for RC in this situation. Laddie just trying to camp as much as possible. It doesn't look like he's actually caught sight of if anybody's coming in to rescue. City being forced to use that pocket watch. But it doesn't look like, yeah, they are just going to allow Rowley to return to the manor. And we will be seeing Painter take this kite. A very unfortunate hit there. But it does look like, were we able to get the appearance? Yes, we are going to be painting here. We will have a painting ready very shortly. City is going to take that and still has Pocket Watch left to use, so very nicely done there. But Laddie caught in the painting radius does have Trump card to use if you want to switch to Excitement, but is going to opt to keep that Blink. So a lot of time wasted there. It looks like we will be actually starting, well, we tapped a new cipher at the very least, but we will be continuing our second to last cipher, final cipher, is basically primed at this point. But it looks like we are just going to start a new one. Being forced to rotate away from it. Bit of an interesting decision there, but I guess wanting to stay out of the line of fire as much as possible. Soba is actually going to be lost here. Laddie doubling back, looking for that 97% cipher. And switching over to Ivory, it looks like. That cipher obviously was only at 30%. Soba can absolutely go back to working on it. But yeah, we do have all three survivors injured here. I don't know if it'll snowball because the thing is that the ciphers are already at there's already such good progress on the ciphers. Laddie is going to switch to teleport, to just to try and pressure them a little bit more. But another beautiful painting. Again, no excitement in play, wasting so much time here. For RC survivors. That 94% cipher is basically primed. It's just a matter of whether they're going to be able to get back to it in time. City still has a pocket watch left to utilize, so the issue of rescuing here isn't too big of a problem, but we will see. City is definitely on his way. Ivory will very likely be able to get that cipher. Yeah, Ivory will have that cipher primed in time. That's really what they're waiting for. And Painter can sit on chair. Painter does not have a half chair mark. So they can let Painter sit as long as they want. And Soba will still have another chair left. As long as they don't rescue at like 99%. If they rescue at 99%, it's basically a moot point. But City is going to come out here using that pocket watch. We do have the cipher primed. And all members of the team do have borrowed time. So it is going to be a three-man endgame here. Just going for that rescue right away. Soba is going to go straight down, but that Cypher is going to pop. It was a little bit of a slow pop, I will say. It was a 97% prime Cypher, which isn't really primed. It's kind of half prime, but oh, missing that cape there as well, getting caught on the tree. It does not, in fact, go through objects. So that was a little bit unfortunate there. Of course, Laddie's still able to catch up because Opera Singer can do that. And Soba is going to take this chase. Um, no paintings left to utilize, but a beautiful prediction there. Kind of treating it as a blink predict. Very nicely done by Soba. The thing here is that Painter actually has a movement speed boost. Unfortunately, we are going to go down there, but a very, very nice containment here. That gate is nearly open, but it looks like it's getting a little bit. Okay, they have actually returned to it. Laddie does have teleport up though, so we are going to. Yeah, they have preempted that. Will be going away, but actually Laddie teleporting to the wrong gate. They're going to be able to rotate back to a gate already almost open. This will be, at the very least, it looks like a draw, but they're staying out. It doesn't look like City knows where the dungeon is just yet. That's not a great situation here. The dungeon's on the other side of the map. City still needs to get to the gate, but we can't quite see it from this angle, but it does look like City might be, yeah, unfortunately losing sight of where City might be. Both of them will be getting out the gate. That is going to be a draw. What a performance there. And yeah, as I was saying, they really are skilled against that opera singer. They know what they're doing against the opera singer. I think this is really the only team um so far that's been able to just effectively work against the opera singer like that. That is absolutely incredible and very, very well done. And it really does explain why they didn't ban the opera singer. You know, that is a huge risk. That is a huge, huge, huge risk. She is so powerful. But just knowing what you're doing, being able to just kite, contain as much as possible, waste time, decode fast. That's it. That's all you have to do against any hunter. But even the opera singer, even though people say she's broken, she is broken. But she's broken. But with a team that has that much synergy, like no survivor here had over 100 seconds of containment. The highest containment was on the painter, who wasn't even the first chase, and they were still able to get a draw out of it. It's Cypher Rush. It's Yeah, it's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. And if I'm looking at this right, first officer only had 62% decoding. I'm a little bit impressed that they were actually able to have such good Cypher Rush, with that in mind. But yeah, wow, that is just is what a performance. Just what a performance there. But it really does. I mean, it was a draw. It definitely could have, I guess, been a better, a draw is a draw. A draw is a draw. But we will be seeing Akka coming out as the hunter for RC second round, I believe. Okay, yeah. Oops, I kind of overshot that. My apologies. We're going to see the barmaid and the psychologist banned right away. So that's my bad. But yeah, Seer and Gardner are the first two survivors picked in the previous round, so they will be globally banned for this round. And Scars is going to ban the opera singer here, even if it is not the same opera singer as previous round. Akka opera singer is probably very scary, even though we don't get to see her. Um, so obviously this does kind of bring the rest of Akka's hunter pool. But I feel like with that barmaid psychologist first ban, we might be looking at a Dream Witch. I would not be surprised if we were seeing a Dream Witch here, especially since Akka does have a Dream Witch. We will be locking in the Acrobat and the Prospector coming up first. Yeah, Akka does have Hermit too. Um, so yeah, Barmaid could definitely be a Hermit. A Hermit, I mean, Hermit's okay on Arms Factory, but I feel like I feel like with the psychologist, it's more likely to be a well, I guess Hermit doesn't like psychologist either because she can heal chip damage, but I'm putting my money on Dream Witch. I'm gonna put my money on Dream Witch. Obviously, it could definitely still be. Well, I feel like with the Merc ban, it's Dream Witch because Hermit doesn't really have to worry about Merc because again, chip damage. So I feel like in this case, it is a little bit more of a yeah. I also like the options. Yeah, Hermit, and Merc. Merc can definitely still be an issue, especially since he can take a lot of hits. But he's a good first chase for Merc, which is not common when it comes to rescuing. So yeah, but he's still annoying for containment. But we will see how this shapes out. I would say we're very likely looking at Akka Dream Witch, but we'll see. We could have something weird come out here. We could have a Hermit. We could have basically anything else in Akka's Hunter pool. Probably not a Clown, I would say, because this is Arms Factory. He's not great on Arms Factory. Night Watch, maybe, but I hope not. Um, but okay, Hunter pick will be coming through here. And okay, yeah, yeah, we'll just, you know, that is going to be a Dream Witch, which I enjoy. I am always very happy to see a Dream Witch, especially on Arms Factory. It's kind of her home, and I do think RC was able to pick the map for this round. So yeah, RC banned the map for the first round, so they would pick the map for this round. And it does make sense if they did pick the Arms Factory so that Akka could bring out that Dream Witch. Especially because, you did see in the previous round, RC's not afraid to not ban the Opera Singer and ban the Bloody Queen instead. But they were kind of banking on Scars either allowing that Opera Singer and bringing out the opera singer to bring out the opera singer or allowing out the dream witch to bring out the dream witch. And it's a beautiful position to be in when you're a hunter main. And especially with the advantage. Even if it was just the draw, it's more of an advantage than they were left at the previous round. So we will be getting into spawn picks here. Forward is going to spawn in the middle. Monet is going to spawn, or Acrobat's going to spawn over in the corner near the ready to rotate into the shack if necessary. Same with patient, and prospector is going to spawn near the shack. Looks like Akka is going to spawn kind of at the exit gate there, ready to go into the center, ready to go near the shack. I would say forward is not the most ideal first chase, though. Might be going to prospector or even acrobat, but there isn't really a great chase here. It is a pretty formidable team comp, so yeah, I would say maybe prospector is the best bet for an easier first chase. But yeah, it's not a great situation you want to be in. But there's no direct counters. It's just Dream Wish. But we will be seeing Trump Card Detention and Patroller here on Dream Witch, pretty standard. Tide Turner on the Acrobat as well as the Forward. And then we are going to see Flywheel on both the Prospector and the Patient. Double Tide Turn is a little bit interesting, especially against the Dream Witch. I would have expected that a little bit more for maybe um I feel like that it's a little bit more of an opera singer thing to bring double tide. But it's not bad against a Dream Witch, especially with scary Dream Witch. You really want to have that tide turner as kind of an extra insurance, I would say. But immediately we're going to get a leech up on Prospector, and we are going to get that started. Sora is going to be the first chase. Um, yeah, heading into these back walls here. It's not a bad area to catch a Dream Witch, but of course we will be taking our first hit right away from the spawn follower, so not going to be able to get rid of that bleach yet. Is going to be able to continue this chase right into the middle here where the forward happens to be, but we will be seeing that patroller come out here. Forward is going to be in the area to support those, so we could definitely see some stuns coming in sooner than later. It looks like we were able to stun one of the leeches, but of course the spawn follower is going to catch right up and is going to be able to chair or to down the prospector right away. Forward not able to harass here. with both leeches in the area, especially. It's not really safe enough to do so. We're going to be able to get a leech, though, on the forward as well. So that's three leeches on the field as it stands. Um, it looks like okay, yeah, it was the spawn follower is kind of trying to block as much as possible, but a good hit in there. We are going to be able to get that rescue before half, so that is going to be pretty valuable coming into the second half of the game. Not bad Cypher progress either. We do have one Cypher just popped, the other one is basically primed, but the forward Cypher really doesn't have a lot of progress on it, so that's kind of unfortunate here. Our third Cypher is only at 28%. We haven't started any other Cyphers. So it's not a situation that you want to be in when it comes to Cypher Rush, but we will be getting a very nice magnet in there. But with I believe, yeah, we still have two leeches on the field. It looks like forwards was just removed. So that was very well done. So we do only have two leeches on the field now. But both of them obviously are chasing the prospector. So yeah, not a lot that prospector can do, especially I mean, Akka can definitely aim for a tie here, but needs to get a three-man elimination in order to win. But with the way the ciphers are going, I would say that's definitely not an impossibility. A beautiful pallet stun there by Sora. And we will be getting our second patroller out here, heading over towards the prospector. We'll be getting that bite done, and the leech is right there, is going to immediately go down. And we will, yeah, just replace that leech right away. It's off cooldown, so that's not so much of a concern. And Prospector will be chaired for the second time. But we do have all three ciphers started. There was a lot of cipher progress that was able to kind of be recovered there. Two ciphers remaining. They're pretty low now, but we're nearly at accelerated decoding. I believe accelerated decoding is about to start now. So shouldn't be too much of an issue to kind of ooh, and an instant farm there. Obviously, we still have Tide Turner to work with, but Sora taking a hit directly off the chair. Not ideal at all if you are Scars. But obviously we do have Tide Turners. That Tide Turner is going to be very, very valuable. But Acrobat took a hit. Prospector is going to be sent back to the manor shortly. And yeah, was that attack recovery cancel? Because I thought it looked a little fast, but yeah, I had no idea that Red Bomb cancels attack recovery. I guess you learn something new every day. I don't play Acrobat, so yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate there. But Prospector is going to be shared. We've already found Shinami decoding here, and yeah, the leech is already on its way. Shinami obviously at full health here. Um, Finding the acrobat probably would have been a little bit easier here, but those final ciphers, we are at one cipher remaining, but it's at 12% and 9%. So that's really we're basically need to start a full cipher or 90% of a cipher, which is basically a full cipher. We're actually going to find the other two survivors in the center healing here. Acrobat is going to be healed back up, but is going to take the chase. A beautiful blink there, switching to blink, and is going to get that hit in on the acrobat. So very well done there. At this point, it really just is a game of map control. So trying to keep as much map pressure on the map as possible from Akka. And yeah, it looks like we are going to catch up to Shinami once again. But that's three ciphers that they've started now. They've started three final ciphers here. And again, with accelerated decoding in play, they are going to be moving pretty quickly. So that's not a terrible situation to be in. But we will be finding out the acrobat once again, getting another leech in on him. It doesn't look like there are any other leech. Oh no, we do have the leech on the forward. But it is being removed right now, and obviously both with only three survivors left on the team, as well as Shinami having a leech mark. It's going to be removed very, very quickly, and already Takayaki's leech is off the field. Monet obviously still has his, but will be. Oh, a beautiful bomb there, not getting hit out of it. Very, very good. But the leeches are approaching, and another beautiful blink there from the spawn follower this time is going to bring him down. Final cipher is at about 60%, so could definitely be a lot worse. But it looks like it's Takayaki have crows. Yeah, I think Takoyaki as Crows was not decoding. Um, but we'll be yeah, we're gonna be able to pressure that 80% cipher, it looks like. Takoyaki trying to remove that leech in time. Unfortunately, it's just not really going to work. Oh no, actually it did. It did work. My bad. That leech was removed. I believe at the last possible second. But yeah, we will be getting a pretty good rescue there on Monet, but we haven't been able to return to that 80% cipher. So the final cipher, or the third final cipher here is at 50%, and passing again, it is going to be decoded fairly quickly because we are looking at accelerated decoding, but forward is going to go down. So will we be leaving him on the ground? It looks like we might just be catching up, trying to get another leech in on him. But we have been able to return to that 80% cipher. Akka needs to move quickly here if he wants to get Takoyaki on the chair. It is almost primed, and it is going to be primed now. Takoyaki obviously does still need to be chaired. But that cipher is very well and primed. But we have spotted out the acrobat. So if acrobat goes down here, it's going to be a much more difficult rescue. Shinami obviously needs to move away from the ciphers in order to get to Takoyaki's chair. A lot of just keeping these survivors on the ropes. Just beautiful control here by Akka, even in this kind of tense moment. That cipher is primed. The problem is going to be getting back to it. Keeping pressure on Monet is essential. Oh, they are just going to be able to pop it here, barely at the end of Akka's attack recovery too. A very daring pop here. They need to get more than a draw. If they get a draw, they will be able to possibly push it into round four. But the key point here is that Akka needs a draw in order to keep things up. And not allowing Scars to win around here is essential. And not Yeah, not allowing Scars to get the lead here. Akka needs to get that draw. But it looks like they are opening the other exit gate here. One survivor is in the area. I did not quite catch who it was. But yeah, it looks like Patient is in the area, kind of avoiding Akka's sight, but has been spotted out here. And a beautiful blink just to secure that down, but this will be a draw. The points are still going to be tied heading into round three. Akka going to just leave that leech there, is going to pick up and chair Shinami. Other survivors will be escaping. Yeah, this will be a confirmed draw now, and we will be heading it. Well, we were already heading into round three, but heading into round three with the points completely tied here. Whoever wins round three here wins. Um, which is not a position that you really want to be in. Usually, you do want to have a little bit of a lead going into round three. Especially with the opera singer meta kind of guaranteeing that tied. Excuse me. That tied round one. Um, yeah, but a draw is absolutely better than a did my quality just drop? Ugh. Come on. There we go. Yeah, a draw is better than a loss is the real thing here. So yeah. But we're heading into round three. It looks like our map is going to be Leo's Memory. Obviously, the survivors have 200 bans this time, so it is going to kind of narrow the playing field on what Aka's able to play. We're going to ban out the Antiquarian and the Priestess first. So obviously Seer is off the table because Scars did utilize the Seer first. So there's a little bit less options to play here. We're going to ban out the Opera Singer and the Dream Witch. Pretty respectable, obviously. Wouldn't be surprised to see an Entomologist locked out first just to try and avoid that clown. But obviously Akka does have a pretty large hunter pool, so he could basically play anybody. Yeah, global bans are gonna be in Call of the Abyss. I mean, I would be shocked if they weren't, but yeah. It'll be like the same, I think it'll be the same as, like all the tournament rules are gonna be the same across the board. That was what I was trying to, spit out there. But we will be seeing the forward and the psychologist, locked in first here. A little bit interesting. Um, the forward hasn't really been that effective, so I'm a little bit surprised that they're picking him again. Um, in terms of like stunning, I feel like there's other hunters who can do the job, but or other hunters. Oh my god, other survivors that can do the job. But we're going to ban out the dancer, which I respect, especially since the factory only has memory. But we are going to have another toy merchant, so that is always very exciting to see. And she is very very strong on Leo's memory. Speaking of Speaking of that factory, Annie can do a lot on the factory with the stairs, on the inside, on the outside. It's basically a playground for her. So very excited to see that toy merchant coming out here. And there's also teammate support that she can provide to the forward. If that ball or when that ball runs out. And we're going to see the Enchantress coming in. Enchantress is a very common or not very common, but a pretty common round three pick when they're looking just to get as many points on the board as possible. I'm not surprised to seeing um the Enchantress coming out here. So it's a little bit rarer to see, especially in this day and age, but I enjoy seeing her. Um and it's not entirely an unprecedented pick, so I'm very excited about that. It does I would say if I need to stop like asking for clown because I feel like even outside of checkmate it is I am kind of cursed to ask for a hunter and then it never shows up. But I don't even like clown. Um yeah, crowd does want Akka Clown. But I don't even like clown as a character, but clown gameplay is just so much fun to watch. Um it's just fun. It's just fun. And I like having fun. Um but yeah. Well, lizard counter is just because I'm me. I will never actually hope for a lizard. I would not wish that on any hunter to play a lizard. Because I don't want them to do that to themselves. But we're actually going to be seeing a bloody queen here, which is not a bad pick. I mean, if Akka's she is the Tie Queen, but I feel like she's become less and less of a Tie Queen, especially in this tournament season. Um, yeah, prisoner is the hunter. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed if they wanted to do Hunter Luca id switch, but that's also in all honesty, I feel like Hermit should have been Hunter Luca identity switch, but that's a totally different conversation for another time. Um anyway, um we uh yeah, I'm getting a little off topic, but anyway, we we will be getting into the spawn picks here. We will be seeing the Enchantress spawn in the factory. Psychologist spawning in the middle here. Um, it's a little bit interesting, actually, this Toy Merchant placement. I would have expected Toy Merchant to be closer to the factory, but they've placed her over in the shack. I would say she's probably going to rotate over to the factory in that case, but it's kind of surprising that they are putting her over in the factory. There's not as many places for her to kind of use. Well, I guess she can catapult over to the factory, but yeah, it's a little strange of a spawn point, I feel like. Especially since we are looking at a Bloody Queen who can just mirror over and target her immediately. But we'll see. Forward obviously over on the other side of the map, not really needing to be chased first, can definitely rotate into position to be chased, but we'll see. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Um yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what the persona picks are because I feel like both Flywheel and Broken Windows are pretty viable against the Bloody Queen. Broken Windows obviously just to get distance, and escape from the mirror, and Flywheel also to escape from the mirror. The point really is just escaping from the mirror when you're dealing with a Bloody Queen. You just if you're with her main body, it's fine. And especially with that Enchantress, if you're with the main body, it's fine. But it looks like we're going to actually see no borrowed time on no borrowed time on the forward here. We will be seeing Flywheel and Tide Turner, Broken Windows on the Psychologist and the Toy Merchant, and Flywheel on the Enchantress. But we will be getting right into it. Third round, RC versus Scars, and they are completely tied up. Um, there is no point bias here, but a very nice mirror here from Akka looking to cut off the psychologist. Very nicely done. Getting a beautiful hit in on Sora, and this is going to be our first chase on the psychologist. It does look like Monet is outside here. Akka really just not afraid of that palette of the toy merchant, or of the, oh my god, of the psychologist possibly hiding behind it. But it looks like we might be changing targets immediately over to the Enchantress, which is a little bit surprising. Psychologist is definitely an easier first chase, but I feel like Enchantress as well can be an easy first chase as long as you hit her with the mirror. But very nice mirror hit there. Unfortunately, Enchantress is going to be able to break quite a bit of distance with that mirror hit, not yeah, having switched before the mirror hit definitely was very good in terms of aiming the hit, but not as great in terms of catching up. Obviously, Monet's been able to garner a lot of distance here, but Akka is going to be able to place another mirror on these stairs. Looking to just cut off Monet. Monet seeing it coming here, looking to get that stun in, but unfortunately is going to go down. Was over a minute of first chase. We do have four ciphers started here, with three of them with pretty significant progress, but it was a good job to, I think, yeah, leaving the psychologist without a shield, making her job of healing up the potential rescuer a little bit harder. It looks like Takoyaki is in the area, wants to come rescue, but I think Akka see where he is? No, not yet. Does not look like Akka sees where he is just yet. Oh, yep, caught sight of him just there heading into the factory, kind of playing around here, waiting for him to approach. This is going to be a before half rescue, getting in that basic hit there. Not really worried about being close because obviously Enchantress does have a three stack. We will be seeing that three stack coming into play here, but we do still have Blink. So that can definitely be used to break some of the distance here. But oh, psychologist is also in the area. Oh, and we're going to actually miss the blink, hitting the psychologist instead. Very, very nicely done on that body block. And a beautiful flywheel just to continue this containment for a little bit longer. Are we going to take the hit? Yes, we will be taking that hit from the mirror. No stuns able to be used to extend that kite. And that will be the second share, but we do have pretty good cipher progress right now. This is looking like another draw situation here, unless Akka is able to do something crazy. There is a lot of cipher progress here. They basically across the three ciphers, they really only have one cipher left to decode, which doesn't make a lot of sense when I say that out loud. But yeah, we will be able to pressure the ciphers as well because this is a Bloody Queen. Oh, and she also has wanted orders. That does make the job a little bit easier. Toy Merchant coming in for this rescue. And able to get it pretty nicely, but unfortunately just not able to get in for that body block. That is a little bit unfortunate there. But aiming for a draw, honestly, isn't the worst case scenario, I feel like. As long as RC survivors are able to really put a dent in things. But, that is also as long as RC survivors are able to get more than draw. But we do still have two ciphers left to decode, and with two survivors injured, I feel like we might be able to turn this into a win. Because only Shinami can come to rescue. And as long as the second down comes before the cipher pops, but they are back to working on the ciphers. It looks like Aka's actually going to change targets here over to Takoyaki on the cipher, which isn't. I feel like letting the forward decode is kind of a good idea, but oh no. Heading back into this factory, I feel like the factory is really not the best place. Akka really knows where to place those mirrors in order to kind of maximize their potential, making sure that the mirrors are able to cut them off. But we will be getting a beautiful mirror heavy hit in there on Takoyaki. Very, very nicely done. Unfortunately, the mirror is going to run out. So that is going to be a bit of a hike here for Takoyaki to get back to the forward. And it is going to give Sora and Shinami enough time to heal up. So that's very, very good on their part. Um, Yeah, they do still have two ciphers to decode, though, and one of them does need to come in for the rescue. It's definitely possible. But they're actually going to start a completely new cipher here. They're going to go all the way back over and start a cipher. It's about at 40% now, but they have ciphers with a lot more decoding on them. I think one of them is kind of in the way of forward share, so that makes sense. But the other ciphers really have much more progress on them. So obviously, it is accelerated decoding, and with no decoding debuffs, we are looking at already 70% cipher. So I guess it's not as much progress lost as it would have been otherwise, or if it had been the forward decoding. But it's definitely an interesting decision. But we will be getting that blink in play here, switching immediately to teleport just to get as little of a cooldown as possible heading into the end game. Forward will be seeing that second share. Unfortunately, no basement here. It would definitely have been nice to have the basement in play. But forward will be chaired here. It looks like we are going to have that Cypher Prime very shortly, but Akka knows exactly where the Toy Merchant is, and Toy Merchant is injured. She is going to be able to use that catapult, though. The real question is, are we going to mirror over? No, because Psychologist is in the area. This is not a great situation here for Akka. Definitely could switch targets here, but it would be a very big risk. That mirror is going to be up again in 4 seconds, but that Cypher will be primed. The cipher is primed now. And oh, they're just going to pop it. Okay. I think that may have been miscommunicated. I would say they were definitely banking on that hit going through, but that's a very unfortunate misstep here from Scar's survivors. Ugh. Yeah, that's really not a mistake you want to make when entirely the match is entirely tied up right now. Neither RC nor Scars has the lead. If they were able to draw that at least, then they definitely could have tried to get in the lead with their hunter, but this is looking more and more like a one-man escape as long as Akka is able to find these survivors. They did do a very good job of scattering. Obviously having the forward go down there wasn't, obviously it wasn't ideal, but they do still have two survivors up. Akka does not know where they are, so that could definitely be brought back, but it's all right, we are going to teleport over there, and we are going to catch sight of Sora's blood trail. Dungeon is here, and yeah, Sora is going to go straight down there. No flywheel in play to avoid that hit. So we will be seeing the psychologist hit a chair or get in the yeah. Wow, that is that is very very unfortunate. We do only have about less than 10 seconds left in detention, though, so Shinami can definitely pull for even, I would say, a solo escape at this point, possibly a draw, but I don't. Yeah, that's not going to be a possibility here. But unfortunately, obviously, detention is out. Detention is out, so that's a big thing here. They were able to waste quite a bit of time, um, before. Yeah. Oh, you're right, you're right, you're right. Yeah, forward didn't have borrowed time, so if the they popped it before the hit went through. So it wouldn't have made a difference if the psychologist had been able to body block. I guess they were like psychologist isn't going to be able to body block, just pop it, but I don't even I don't know. Yeah, I guess that does kind of change things because forward would have been down either way, but if psychologist had been able to body block, it was less of a throw, I guess, than it would have been otherwise. But it was, yeah. 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 They were able to get the solo escape, and a solo escape is better than no escape because that does give them 3 points. Or it gives RC 3 points instead of five. And it does still preserve 1 point on Scars' side. But yeah, that's oof. It could be worse though. It could be worse. It's only a 2 point lead here. We are looking at 10 to 12. So Scars can definitely bring it back in the next round as long as they don't get a 3 man escape. And then we're heading to round 4. So that's a very real situation here in this time, but we have seen how strong RC survivors are coming up here. So if they just need to draw. If they're able to draw here, then they win. Um Obviously if they get 4 man eliminated, then Scars will win. If it's a 3 man eliminate, or if it's a 1 man escape 3 man elimination, then we go to round 4. So that's where we stand. But yeah, it is what it is, really. It's not a great situation to be in if you are Latian right now. It's really not a great situation to be in if you are Lati, but a 3 man elimination is definitely possible. The issue is just getting that 3 man elimination, securing that 3 man elimination, and making sure that it's not a draw, because a draw is a loss situation for Scars and a win situation for RC. But we will be getting into the ban picks here. Laddie is going to ban the Explorer and the Seer. We're going to pick the Mercenary and the Prospector here, and the Entomologist is going to be banned as well. So we could see a priestess. We could also see a patient, possibly a lawyer as well. If we're looking at that decoding potential. Okay, yeah, we are going to see the lawyer. They really do want to cipher rush this. Again, they do need as much cipher progress as possible. Because they are looking for at least a draw. But with the psychologist band, I feel like the priestess might be good. Okay, we're going to go with the coordinator. Not a bad choice. It's a pretty aggressive comp. Um, I would say Laddie's probably not going to bring excitement for this, or if bringing excitement, just really wanting to tunnel the coordinator as much as possible. But I feel like excitement's not really necessary, even with 2 harassers on the team. Um, yeah, but we'll see. It wouldn't be too terrible to bring excitement, but it would also not be bad. Um, Especially with things the way that they are. Lati does need a 3 man elimination, so I would say we're gonna want to go with something a little bit more aggressive. They have banned the Bloody Queen, so obviously that's not gonna be a choice. We could go with the Geisha. Yeah, Explorer and Seer were banned first. But I feel like Mercenary comes out a lot. Uh, because he's banned, but he's not like a priority ban, I feel like, especially it's like if we're going to allow out the rescuers, we'll allow out the rescuer. We're going to go with the Geisha. Yeah, we're gonna go with the Geisha. Not entirely surprised about that pick. I got distracted by Nye, but I was gonna say that. But yeah, I do think that especially when you're dealing with a geisha, because she can counter mercenary, at least in chase. Not so much in rescuing, but she is one of those hunters where the elbow pads are kind of, well, they're not useless, but they're less useful than they are against, I don't know, a violinist, a hunter that like can't dash. Um, but I mean, there's so many dash hunters in the meta, you know. Anyway, Geisha's definitely not an unfamiliar face. It looks like we are going to be heading for the coordinator first, possibly lawyer, but I feel like heading towards lawyer is a little bit risky, especially since he is in the factory. 99% chance you're going to run into the coordinator first anyway. Um, yeah. Yeah, all RC needs is a draw here. So I would say that if the first chase is not ideal, they're just going to sell, or at the very least rescue at 99%, but they just have to play for a draw, which is basically how all that's how survivor matches go, period. It's very easy to get a draw if you just, if you have communication. Um communication as well as just, you know, general kiting skill, communication, Cypher Rush. Having Lawyer on the team is definitely going to help with the Cypher Rush. Yeah, I feel like Coordinator is probably going to be the most likely first chase here. We do have no borrowed time on the Prospector. We will be seeing Flywheel and Broken Windows. Broken Windows on both the Lawyer and the Coordinator. And Mercenary is going to have Tide Turner. We will be getting right into it again. As I've said, like 13 times in a row. RC only needs a draw to win. Laddie needs a 3-man in order to head to round 4, and a 4-man elimination will be victory for Scars. So low pressure. But it looks like we will be heading for coordinator first in the factory. So Lawyer has rotated out of the area. A nice butterfly here, and a terror shock right away. That is not what I expected, and very not ideal for RC in this situation. We're not going to go for the basement chair, which is a little bit interesting here, but it does make sense considering that Lati does need to get that 4-man elimination in order to win. But wow, yeah, yeah. Um, very unprecedented. First chase there was a very good butterfly though. And just at the edge of that hitbox. I feel like Rowley probably thought that the vault would have gone through um before that happened, but you know. Yeah, it is what it is. City's going to be in the area just to provide tonight's, but I don't think that the I don't think they're going to go for the rescue just yet. We're either going to sell or we're just going to go for a 99% rescue. It does look like City might be setting up for that 99% rescue. Okay, yep, we are gonna go in for it now. But we do have the gun, and Lati doesn't have excitement. Obviously RC survivors don't know that, but Lati doesn't have excitement. So we should be using the gun here. Yep, nice gun. Able to just kind of rotate out of the area immediately. We'll be using that broken windows as well, just to gain as much distance as possible, but it is still a geisha. So beautiful prediction there from Laddie. Bradley is still going to be able to use the factory here, and we do have Blink to work with, so not going to quite use it yet, but Blink can definitely still come into play. And the Prospector is in the area. Beautiful stun there, beautiful pullback, not allowing that butterfly to fully go through. Um, but it does look like Rowley is going to go down here. Prospector's still in the area though, has a couple of magnets left. Oh, and a blink, but that blink is going to be wasted here. And we already have 3 ciphers remaining. Lawyer hard at work decoding, as per, always. We will be getting a very nice pushback there, just to waste out the last of those magnets. So Rowley will be returning to the manor, but they are still pretty much, I want to say, in a position to make this into a draw. As long as they're able to contain for long enough, Lawyer can definitely do a lot of cipher progress. They have started their final cipher here. Um, City being at half health isn't ideal, and it does look like Laddie's kind of spotted him out here. Yep, is going to catch sight of that mercenary. We do have 3 elbow pads to work with. So it could be worse. There's still a lot of containment potential here. 2 ciphers remaining, with one of them coming along pretty slowly. The other one is nearly finished. So, yeah, it could definitely be a worse situation here, but I feel like they are playing for the draw, and so a draw, um, they don't have to really push here, is the thing. It was a very unfortunate early game, but I don't think it's the worst possible situation. Anyway, but we will be seeing this kite continue. A very, very long containment here from City. And doesn't actually okay, it doesn't have any elbow pads left to use, but this is a really good area. Nicely done with that dash predict. Oh, and missing that hit as well. City doing a really good job of containing here. Our final cipher is about to hit 50%, so yeah, in the event that City goes down, both survivors are still at full health, so they will be able to come in for this rescue. Unfortunately, just getting hit through that pallet there, but it's really not the end of the world. Laddie does have teleport though, so he can definitely just change targets and go for that cipher, try to pressure it as much as possible. But this really is looking like a draw situation for RC, which is going to give them the win. But Mercenary will be chaired here. Obviously, anything can happen. The Cypher is primed. So let's see. It looks like Soba. Yeah, Soba's already here for the rescue. Um, a teleport being up here. Honestly, it might not. I mean, if anything, I feel like it could definitely secure. Oh, a beautiful work of that Magnet getting a no damage rescue here. Soba definitely wants to take this hit as well. Because getting a okay. Well, City's going to take the pop. Ideally, if Soba had taken that pop, Mercenary would be at full health and able to take a detention hit. That's not going to be the case. But City's actually over dungeon. This area hasn't been kited through yet. So there's a lot of resources to work with. Unfortunately, City is just going to take that hit. Beautiful butterfly there from Laddie. This could be a three-man elimination if Laddie plays his cards right. At least a three-man elimination. Magnet coming through here, but City still has self-heal and is over dungeon. Of course, Soba hasn't been shared yet, so that is going to be a little bit of a challenge to work with there. Nice stun. I feel like probably wanted to go all the way into... Ooh, missing that heavy hit. Trying to bait out that flywheel with a heavy hit, unfortunately, it's just not going to be long enough, but very well done from Soba. Unfortunately, Soba is going to go down. Ivory moving away from the gate, but that gate is open. City at 76% self-heal. 93% self-heal. City's going to get back up again. The dungeon is there, but this is a pretty far chair. Okay. Thankfully, Soba did not struggle free. But Laddie on the lookout for that mercenary. Really needs to just track down City, make sure that he does not escape, doesn't go down. Um, and it looks like Ivory is just going to hang out at the gate. Laddie does not have tinnitus. It looks like City's actually heading towards the gate as well. Ivory coming in for a rescue. That's a very big risk here. I don't know if he's actually doing that, but it looks like City's successfully drawing Laddie's attention away from that chair. Ivory's going to be able to go in for this rescue. Soba is going to be rescued here. And a beautiful pallet stun from City on the way to the exit gate. This could be a three-man escape even for RC. And detention is going to be out here, but this is pre-nerf mercenary. City is going to be able to make it all the way to that gate. Is going to take a hit though out of the gate, but it does look like is Soba's on the other side of the map, won't be able to harass here. But Ivory's definitely close. If there was an elbow pad, that would have 100% been a gate escape. But of course, at this point in the game, if you still have an elbow pad, you're doing something wrong. But yeah, Ivory just trying to waste time for Soba to get out the gate. Yup, that exit gate is open. This is going to be a draw for RC survivors, and that will secure them the victory. But what what an opening match, really. And it was just chasing the merc there, chasing City there. And it wasn't even really the mercenary, I think. It wasn't like, chasing the mercenary. It was just City's containment ability really secured that match. I do want to see how long he contained for. Because that kite saved the game, genuinely. But very, very well played there from RC. Even with that terror shock right out the gate, being able to bring it back like that is so impressive. So impressive. Um, yeah, I am going to skip ahead a bit just to get to the stats. Because I do want to see how long that mercenary containment time was for. That was incredible. Yeah, 147-second containment there. That's crazy. I do wonder who's going to get the MVP though, because I wouldn't be surprised if it was City, especially with that or Soba. I do want to see who the MVP is though, so I am going to skip ahead once again. But yeah, tied up completely until that last game. Absolutely incredible. Just such an even matchup. Okay, yeah, Peter's actually going to be the MVP here, which is not surprising. That opera singer performance, just full mastery of the character as always. Um, yeah, not surprising at all to he didn't want to decode anymore. He just wanted the adrenaline rush. Yeah, yeah. The 60% decoding there really did kind of rub that message in. But yeah, just absolutely incredible performance there. This will be the end of my stream though. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming. I'm just gonna put it on that. Yeah, thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for again supporting me as always. Um, yeah, I will be back next weekend. Next Saturday, the second, I think it's the second, is going to be Checkmate. So Checkmate finals, we're doing the semifinals and the finals all in one day, because everybody has scheduling conflicts. So it'll be a 1 day event. There's not going to be a third place match. It's just going to be the two matches for the semifinals and then the finals. I don't know what I'm going to be commentating for, but obviously I will be commentating for at least some of it. So you will be seeing me then, but obviously, please come to support both the teams as well as the staff and the rest of the commentators. So yeah, that'll be next Saturday. I'll probably get another stream in next Sunday. I might be able to stream actually on Tuesday. I'll see what happens. But hopefully I'll be able to get in another commentary stream this week now that obviously holidays are over. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But as always, thank you guys for supporting me. And I don't think I have anything else to talk about. So, oh yeah, commission Jupy Mere Lunars on Twitter.com. That's all I got. But yeah, thank you guys for coming, and that's gonna be the end of the stream.